Is she Gorn? Is she a Gorn Klingon? Is she Klingon?
Klingon. How is there not a Klingon anywhere?
There
That's
has to be.
amazing. Captain's Pod, Stardate 2490 16.4. Welcome aboard the Starship Enterprise, and thank you for joining us on our continuing voyages through the final frontier. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, she was tempted for 0.68 seconds, but who knows by what? It's Ambassador Deneé.
Hi everyone, I'm tempted by chaos.
Do you remember what that reference is specifically, Ambassador? Pop quiz.
Yes, I do. I remember exactly 100%.
Don't you Google it. Stop it. Stop typing.
I'm not. Okay, I'm not.
Eyes away from the screen. Stop it.
Look at my screen.
I can see ChatGPT in the reflection of your glasses.
That's such bullshit. You are such a liar. You're painting me in this dark, dark light. This was when Data was confessing to Captain Picard that he was technically tempted by the Borg Queen and her promises of humanity.
There we go. Oh, so proud. So that was 3 weeks ago we talked about that. You've retained it.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Well, now that we've established your memory banks are working, we just did a little quick preview episode for Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Ambassador, what year is this brand new Star Trek show being set in? Can you give me the century?
The year is the 3rd century.
No, it's not.
The 32.
You're close, actually.
It's the 32 century.
I'm going to give it to you. It is the 32nd century.
Is it?
It is, yes.
I love saying 32.
32. It's the 3100s.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you didn't already know in the podcast feed, we had a little intro with David from the Lorehounds.
That was so fun.
Preview for Star Trek Starfleet Academy. So we kind of went through our what we're anticipating, a brief synopsis of what it's going to be, and where are your excitement levels at for this brand new Star Trek show that isn't Lower Decks, that isn't Strange New Worlds. This is the first brand new series of Star Trek we've had in a few years.
I am optimistically nervous.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you.
I think it's difficult to not be excited about new content, knowing how difficult it is to make the content.
Yeah, that's fair.
To have the greater production companies that be earmark money to hire all of the people to make all of this work. Especially
in science fiction, which I know a lot of these sets will be used from Discovery, but they are building new sets as well for this show. That's a big investment.
All of those resources going into creating something for the Star Trek fan base is, without question, right at the beginning, a win.
Yeah. 100% agree.
It's hard to not get excited about it because that means that there's enough of, I'm going to go ahead and say us out there, that they're wanting to give something to the world.
We are getting 20 new episodes of Star Trek. It's getting 2 seasons. That's so exciting really great to me.
The other part of it, though, that's always important is the net for new viewers. So where they're choosing to cast their net is what I'm going to be really
I love that.
Paying attention to. I think because just from a strategy standpoint, everybody who creates something, whether it's a book or a TV show or movie, if it's based on existing known IP like Star Trek, they're going to have some just no matter what, we're showing up fan base.
Yeah.
But then there's always that desire to find somebody new and something else.
You need to.
And how do you find them and what is your marketing strategy? And so learning in our previous chat that it's kind of like CW-esque looking.
I mean,
Not that it is CW, but like I went and looked at the image.
The poster that we talked about.
Yes. And then on my Paramount Plus app, that's the picture that is showing to me. And I don't know if they have different images showing to different people because that they... So maybe for like a male person, they might... Yeah, so maybe it's coded for me that I saw that. I don't know. But it kind of just, and then we're watching Stranger Things, just this sort of like coming of age vibe. And it feels a little bit like Breakfast Club. You know what I mean?
It absolutely feels Breakfast Club.
And I kind of like, I think I might enjoy enjoy that, but I get nervous because anytime you sort of change the format.
It's one of the gifts and curses of Star Trek is that it can do anything, but you still have to do that anything well. And in the back of my head is always, and I don't think Star Trek is going anywhere, but how many chances do we get? Because Section 31 was a huge miss. The last 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds have been massively up and down. Discovery, hugely up and
Picard.
down. Lower Decks, consistent. Picard, massively up and down. How many more chances do we get to keep telling stories when there are some consistent misses? So my hopes are always through the roof. I know that Ian is going to find something to enjoy in this sandbox no matter what, but I want it so desperately to be great for new people as well. We have to have new people engaged with Star Trek as well.
There's some of that's true, that's tried and true. Like, you're not going to mess with certain sciences, or you're not going to mess with certain formats, or like there's certain things that will always be present, but there's so much more room to play. And I love that. So I like that they take chances, but the part that makes it scary is, of course, if the greater gods that give the money down the line decide that they don't want to risk it, like, that is scary. But I'm also really glad to not watch the same thing over and over again. Because if I want that, I'll go back to my TNG, my beloved TNG.
Yeah, let's just do a full podcast about TNG.
I'll watch TNG all the time, and I'll just rewatch it, and I'll do my mom and dad, they used to do the MASH. They used to watch MASH all the time, and that was just like their consistent thing that they did.
I've seen so much Columbo over and over and over again. It's just comfort food.
Well, that's going to be me in my retirement era someday.
Still
I'm just
Columbo and MASH.
It's just TNG and Murder, She Wrote.
so much TNG.
But you can kind of find your lane within Star Trek. So like where someone else's show would potentially be like Deep Space Nine or something, and that's their jam, or Voyager, that's their jam. It's kind of cool. We all can still talk about our love of Star Trek, but we have our own variations and like our variety that we like. And I think that's really, really cool. So I'm excited to see them swing for the fences. I'm excited to watch something new. I am nervous, but I'm excited to watch something new.
We're going to be covering both episodes 1 and 2.
It's going to be a long show.
It's going to be a long show, people. We've already had a long intro.
You know what we could do?
Yes.
We could take like a little break in the middle.
I think we will, yeah.
And just play some elevator music for like 15 minutes on the podcast, just nonstop.
Episode 1 Ambassador is called Kids These Days.
Oh, boy.
What a great title. What a great title. Any quick predictions based on that?
Oh, well, it's obviously going to be us looking at the characters that we're going to come to know. This will be the quintessential panning through the room, finding the next person and kind of joining their world and learning more about them, panning through the room. Yeah, we'll be carrying through the world that they're in, meeting these characters. I don't know how they're going to do it. Like, I'm curious, is it going to be humorous? Is it going to be like you might be wondering how I got here? You know, like, is it going to be that?
Mid-phase of battle? Yeah.
But it's more like two people bump into each other and the books fall over vibe.
There we go. Okay, so we're going to have a meet cute. I think we're going to have comic relief.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, specifically per character.
If they don't establish the awkward one, the ones that are already starting to be flirty,
awkward one,
the one that's serious. Like, if they don't do that in the first episode, I would be super shocked based on kids these days. And then we're going to see the potential, like, disgruntled, like, teacher vibe.
There we go, disgruntled teacher.
Like, look at the kids these days. They don't know how good they have it. Back in my day, we had to manually realign our phasers or whatever.
Amazing. Yeah, I think we're going to see all of that. I'm going to make a bold prediction because this is something I like, but is also one of my concerns. I'm going to predict 5 spoken Easter eggs, not just visual Easter eggs, because the visual Easter eggs will be everywhere and you could say everything is an Easter egg, but 5 spoken Easter eggs that are references that only hardcore Star Trek fans will get. I'm excited.
Good.
I think we should just jump over to the holodeck, watch the episodes, and we'll meet you back in 10 Forward, or whatever is on the USS Athena, for a full debrief. You ready, Ambassador?
Ready.
2 to beam out. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first, Ambassador. What programmable matter would you like to request?
Ooh, programmable matter. I would like to have.
Don't act like you don't know what you're going to have.
Wait, am I supposed to know?
I will be shocked if you don't say a specific thing.
Well, I usually think about food or beverage because when our show started 4 years ago, it always had to be something, what do you want to drink from the replicator?
Yes.
And that's how it started. And I've never been able to like stretch outside of that. So I always think about a drink or something that was eaten on screen. And I'm trying to think of that being done in this.
That's fair.
I guess ice cream. But I get to program it to where it doesn't bother my lactose intolerance.
That's absolutely a thing you can do in the future.
Yeah.
I would like some deviled eggs from hell.
Did they say that?
That's what Braca screams out when the Athena computer is saying that the warp core is about to explode. So what in the deviled egg hell is that? What in the deviled egg hell is going on?
Yeah.
I love that so much.
I might have missed that one. Or I was just typing so furiously it's in my notes somewhere. But
we'll come to it, I'm sure.
It didn't click into my brain.
Ambassador, give us a synopsis for Season 1, Episode 1 of Starfleet Academy. For the record, we have only watched Episode 1.
Correct.
It was so packed, we decided to come down, talk about Episode 1.
We have to.
Then we're going to go and watch Episode 2.
This is going to be a very long two-part episode. So buckle up, buttercups.
Yes.
Okay. So my synopsis of this episode is that it is nothing like what I thought it was going to be. It is 1,000 times better.
Yes, me too. It is. Maybe this is the key.
That is not an appropriate.
It's really not.
That is not an appropriate synopsis.
No, that's your initial thoughts and feelings. The question that I don't ask you anymore.
Right.
But what I actually want is a synopsis, but I do agree with your initial thoughts and feelings.
Okay, so a synopsis of Episode 1 of Starfleet Academy is the setup of one of the cadets who will become part of Starfleet Academy, which we think we're going to start off watching, but it's kind of a bit of a backstory of how this particular individual is going to be part of the future.
Caleb Meir,
who is at the very beginning of this episode, a child with his mother. His mother is hungry and started working with a pirate to get food. Something went wrong. He somehow a Starfleet officer is killed, and so part of their punishment is that the bad guy, played by
Paul Giamatti,
who is a psychotic, insane person.
Yes. But what about his character?
Oh, right. He's taken to a penal colony, and then Caleb is taken from his mother because his mother has to go do her time for this crime, and they're going to take Caleb and put him into this happy Starfleet bubble camp somewhere.
Literally. The mother played by Tatiana Maslany, who is famous for Orphan Black. But she's incredible. She is an incredible actor. And I knew she was going to be in it. I didn't know how little she was going to be in it. I don't know that she's going to be back for a lot more, but
budget
she's
constraints.
a pretty, between her, Holly Hunter, and Paul Giamatti, that's got to be 90% of the budget gone.
Caleb is very clever, little, not quite a pirate, but definitely has the makings of a pirate boy. He snags the Starfleet command person's, her name is...
she is...
There's so many new people.
So many new names.
And so this is something that we do on the show where I just call him a name and then it sticks for a while. And
but
then
we're not going to do that now. We probably will.
I'm not going to be able to help it.
This is Captain Nala.
I'm going to call her Captain Shorty.
Nala, she is so short.
Actually, can I call her Captain Kitty?
Captain Kitty? Because she has kitty energy?
When she gets to the captain's chair later on, she sits in the captain's chair like a cat.
She has so much cat energy. Her name is Captain Nala Akay. And she is a Lanthanite, which we will get into.
Steals Captain Kitty's badge, jumps out of the window, and then we skip forward some 13 years or something into the future. Is that how long the skip is?
15 years.
And at this point, little boy Caleb has turned into a wild, raucous, dangerous kid who is hell-bent on finding his mother and has ended up on a transport ship.
A prison ship. This is a prison transport.
Takes it over, and really the whole beginning, this whole part is just to show that he is very capable as a fighter. He's capable of hacking systems. He's recaptured and put into a very serious lockdown. When we are now at the point that Captain Kitty is no longer Captain Kitty, she's just Teacher Kitty at the bubble camp.
Yeah, kindergarten kitty, captain, teacher.
Approached by Starfleet
Admiral Charles Vance. We know who this is. Sorry. We
We being the Star Trek echelon.
Sorry, I know the Star Trek people know who this is.
The nerdy nerds know who this is.
The Discovery Watchers know who this is, yes.
Who approaches Captain Kitty, ex-captain, and says, hey, we need you to come back. We're starting up Starfleet Academy again. We want you to be the chancellor of the academy. We're going to give you your own ship, reinstate your stuff. And we learn that she quit after this separation of child and son wrecked her because she knew it was a terrible decision.
Yeah, in some of Starfleet's dark days.
He dangles in front of her that they found Caleb, and so she's back in because she gets to go see this kid, and part of like her idea is to go rescue him, take him to the academy as part of the agreement, and together they can reunite him with his mother, who escaped from prison, along with Psycho Pirate at some point like a year ago. So that's kind of the setup. We then shift from like all of that lifting of these characters into the world of the academy. And that's really when the show kind of shifts from being like the action-packed beginning sequence into kind of more of what I think we're going to be experiencing.
Yes.
And the academy is on a starship called the Athena, which has wings. And
all ships have wings.
I mean, not like this.
No, not like this. This one has feathers.
And this is like the academy, also the ship, so that they are both learning and getting, exploration.
Great setup as well.
And part of their education is also back on Earth, where they're going to return after all of these years, 150 years, to go back to San Francisco and continue their education. So really, this episode is kind of like how we're getting from space to San Francisco. And the big twist here is that on the way back to San Francisco with all of these cadets and the actual badass crew that
the teaching crew
leads the ship. There's a teaching crew, but then there's actually like the bridge crew that are actually the ship.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what I meant.
Yeah. So they stop along the way for reasons that we'll get to, are attacked, and then the cadets have a chance to flex their stuff and kind of show what they're made of. We get to see kind of more about the alien races that are going to be involved in this season. And then eventually, yay, the day is saved, and we make it back to San Francisco, which will kick off the episode 2, where it will feel more like what I thought episode 1 was going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much to talk about in this episode because it was way more action-packed than I ever would have thought.
Yeah, really efficient with its use of time. I feel like there is not a second wasted.
No, it felt like a movie.
Yeah, it was a movie. Like, it was an hour and 15 minutes. Like, it was just shy of feature length. But I didn't feel that time at all. You could have told me that was 45 minutes and I would have believed you.
That was a ride. I really do wonder if everyone will have a similar kind of experience. Everybody watches their shows differently.
Oh, of course, yeah.
We're both, I think, coming at this from excitement. If I'm kind of reading you. I
have been far more pessimistic than I've let on in any of my build-up talk about Starfleet Academy. I've been deliberately kind of quiet about it because of some, pun intended, burns that have happened along the way. So I genuinely am low expectations and hope that I'm surprised. I could not be more surprised and I could not be happier. This was such an incredible episode 1 for me. This was so good.
You'll be disappointed in episode 2.
I'm sure I will. I'm sure we'll get to episode 5, 6, and 7 and there'll be a mid-season slump or something. But I'm not even going to think about that.
Let's just talk about the episode.
Let's just talk about this. Episode 1, it did everything for me. It was so good. It is, for so many reasons, minus a couple, what I come to Star Trek for. Like, the optimism. Like, this is exactly what I wanted them to do with a new cast of, and a new crew and a new amount of people joining Starfleet and joining the Star Trek universe. It all feels optimistic. It feels like there isn't this darkness that's over them where we have some looming
Voyager has to
baggage.
Get back home thing.
Yeah, Voyager has to get back home, but even Voyager had the optimism there. I more mean in modern Star Trek. Discovery had this overarching thing that wasn't about really Discovery. It was about a war that was being fought, or there was a mystery that was going to end the universe. The setup here is so much optimism and rebuilding, and the new generation. Yes, they have lots of things looming over them, but the majority of it just felt like people living their lives in the future, and the excitement of joining Starfleet, from the cadets to the crew of the Athena as well. They all had this energy and excitement about being on a spaceship. There was so much set up in this episode for the 32nd century that I could not have predicted my level of investment. Like the time setting was a worry for me because it's so far in the future and it's this tangent of discovery, but I'm in. I'm like all in. Like, give me more shows in the 32nd century now. Like, I love it. I was so happy watching this episode. So happy. I think it got the balance of setup, excitement, and it avoided that mystery box thing that Picard and Discovery kind of dragged me down a little bit with. Was episode 1 would often set up the mystery box that we don't really find out until episode 10.
Or whatever.
What is it? Yeah, what's behind the door? Like, what is this mysterious signal? And that's exhausting to have that dragged out for 10 episodes. This didn't have that. Yes, it has Caleb's mother. Yes, it has Nurse Bracker, but there isn't this, like...
We don't care about
families. Re-establishing Starfleet and establishing the cadets. Anyway, how did this first episode hit you overall, Ambassador? Because you seem almost as giddy as I am too.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. There's a lot of reasons to be excited, and I'm really looking forward to breaking this one down.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of those episodes that I want to talk about everything.
Yes.
And so that might feel daunting. So I'm with you. My brain's in a lot of different places because I'm thinking about everything I just saw. And it reminds me of like the first time that I rode the Banshee ride in Disney, and like I want to talk about every single moment on that ride because it blew my mind, you know. Or it reminds me, to be more specific and more on topic, the first time we watched Strange New Worlds, that very first episode when we're seeing the ship for the first time and we're seeing the crew for the first time.
Another really strong episode 1.
Their energy together, the feeling that it's not going to necessarily need to be a season
mystery.
It's an episodic thing. I think this show is probably going to be more season related because they're going through like school, and so I don't know if at the end we're going to look back and be like, yeah, you can watch this out in order and it'll be fine, you know. But it definitely felt like such a standalone episode.
It really did.
It does so much heavy lifting for so many reasons. Not only it's an introduction to every single thing that we're seeing is new, harkens to old, like it is familiar in the ways that kind of matter, but every single thing is new. New set, new crew, new people, new century, like all of these things. And it does new bad guy, new school, new. And I feel like sometimes a show will really fall short on either doing too much or doing too little or not keeping you, like, I'm so bombarded by what we've seen. Maybe I'm going to be reflecting on this going, yeah, we missed a lot of opportunity to do different things in this episode. But right now, sitting in this moment, it was super exciting. It did so much. And so I'm like feeling pretty confident going into episode 2, what I can expect from the characters. And it subverted some expectations about the characters. For example, like this neurodivergent, happy-go-lucky hologram that isn't a hologram. They call themselves something else.
Photonic.
Photonic.
Yeah.
Like that character is something that like has data.
Data, Spock. It's very familiar.
Yeah, but just the way that this actor is presenting this character is like a delight to me.
Absolute delight.
Has so much familiarity, even with like the old Doctor program, just really missing some notes, you know, like, but every single character, and there's so many. So many.
I can picture every character and know something about them, and kind of, they are a clear and developed person in my brain. And
after one episode.
From one episode. That is the hardest trick to pull off in a pilot.
I feel like
I may
that's
not be
true.
able to get all of the names,
right?
But I absolutely can picture them, and I know what they are. That's so important.
Not just for the kid crew, but for the bridge crew as well.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me.
And this is a trick that Discovery missed, and obviously you won't know this as much, Ambassador, but one of the biggest gripes from Discovery, especially by the time we got into season 2 or 3, it was like, damn it, I still don't know who the bridge crew is. I still don't know who my key people are.
Oh, that's a disappointment.
And that's a disappointment when it was the first TV show since TNG Enterprise Deep Space Nine Voyager where you know your bridge crew, and Discovery like departed from that. And this feels much more like a return to how important those individual characters are.
Yeah. I think that they did an amazing job of mixing in humor, action, heart, establishing the world we're in, and it kind of just bravely does it all instead of saying, well, what should we kind of like not lean into?
Yeah.
So
it kind of acts like it's the first Star Trek show ever.
In a way.
And I kind of love that.
In modern storytelling, where it is fast paced, like and obviously we have an hour and 15 minutes, so we cover a lot of ground. We're able to do a lot of what we're doing because of this, but just the easing into the story through, something that's really like showcasing the darker side of Starfleet, and then going, well, but let's give Captain Kitty the ability to like make it better because she's lived long enough to see it all. Just choosing that that's part of her character story, that it's not just that she's a great captain, it's that she's lived long enough to know how things could be reset.
She's seen Starfleet at its best and then
worse.
Decline, and now it's slowly getting back up. And one of the great things about season 4 and 5 of Discovery is this, Starfleet lost its way. The Federation is broken. It turned its back on everybody after the burn. It went full reclusive. And now 120 years later, we're returning to the Starfleet that we love. And I love that we're not in that dark period. We are in this Starfleet embracing what Starfleet and what Star Trek is supposed to be about. I love that they're doing that.
Yeah, it's like a nice reset.
Yeah.
And so to do that and have it feel the way that it felt, at least for me, I'm very excited about this new season, and I can't wait to get into the specifics of this episode because we have a lot to talk about, and it's kind of like I'm so excited I don't want to miss anything, but also we're going to miss stuff.
There's going to be stuff.
So how do you want to go about this? Because sometimes when we're so excited, we'll jump around. Sometimes we try to go kind of a bit scene by scene.
I want to go a little bit scene by scene until something jumps out at us. And the first scene is actually before the episode starts. I just love the Paramount intro that they did for
the 60 years of Star Trek.
You were in the 60th anniversary year. I hope they're going to do some really special things. I think it's really smart to do Starfleet Academy during the 60th anniversary year. It's unfortunate that we're in a transition period with the Skydance takeover stuff, and the transition of like creative minds isn't the best timing to have this celebration, but I'm hoping they're going to do some stuff. But
yeah, it was kind of cool because that ship sort of just kept shedding itself and becoming the next evolution of the ship until it turned into the Athena, I think.
Athena. It's beautiful. Yeah, the transition from Kirk's Enterprise to the movie Enterprise to the D to the Defiant to Voyager to Discovery to Athena.
I love that.
The only thing I missed, I wish it had turned into like Defiant is the little one is from Worf. Don't hurt me for saying little. The little one is from Deep Space Nine. Part of me just wanted Deep Space Nine
to just appear like a huge
appear. Whoa! But it would have broken people. But no, you're not putting Deep Space Nine at warp. Come on. And so then Defiant was the right choice.
And then it ended in the pingy sound from TOS.
Yeah, I mean the sound effects. That was just beautiful. Boop, 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 boop. I love it. Yeah, so that intro just made me tingly. Great start. And then we kick off with narration from Captain Kitty, Holly Hunter, or as she's actually called Captain Nala Aki. Or a K, dang it. I will get that by the end of the season. I love this opening narration. It's just a little exposition about where we are at. Doesn't explain what the burn was. Now that's interesting. It just says that everything...
It's a loss, and it all went away.
It all went away, and they don't explain what the burn is in the episode at all. Like, she implies towards the end, immediately jumping to the end, that her son was lost he was on a ship during the burn. But it still doesn't explain that the burn was a simultaneous detonation of all of the dilithium, essentially, in the galaxy. So if you were on a ship traveling at warp, boom, dead. If you were near dilithium, boom, dead. So there's a huge dilithium shortage as well, which has scuppered warp travel.
So that's what the burn was.
That's what the burn was. It was this huge detonation, and it made warp travel for the longest time impossible, which is why everybody went super reclusive, hoarding resources. And this is a post-apocalyptic series, but 120 years after the apocalypse happened, which is fascinating. Love that.
I mean, that then allows us to avoid that depressive state you're talking about, being thankful to exit.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting to me that they didn't absolutely explain it. Was that distracting to you at all, that you didn't get more info on the burn?
No, maybe it's because I was just really immediately into the set beauty. The sets of this episode are so stunning. And I know that we're in an age of CGI, and thank God, because even just this sort of dystopian idea of a mom and a son looking out the window of some sort of industrial place, and she's reciting things to him. Like, you get the idea that she doesn't want her son to forget certain things. And so he's reciting some stuff that she's giving to him, and then she says it's our secret code. And then she's reminding him what the name of the moon is, and that someday that they're going to go to Sol 3, also called Earth. And so just this idea that we're at this point of time where old knowledge needs to be passed on in a new way. And then she has an opportunity to kind of explain in this very limited scape. Like, I don't know if they're home. Is this their house? Is this just sort of, but no, they're in a cell.
Yeah.
But we don't know that when the show starts. And so I was immediately distracted by figuring out sort of how we're setting the initial stages of this episode, that the burn just, I didn't think, well, what is that? Because it tells you what you need to know. Everything went away. And so it's like, okay, everything went away. And now, you know what? The part that was really important for me is, so, you know, like I mentioned, this sort of section sets up Caleb and the mom and bad guy's backstory along with Captain Kitty. But then there's a moment when Captain Kitty decides that she's going to help Starfleet become whatever it becomes. The information we learn in that scene of her leaving because of what's happening, you know, at the beginning of this episode, that was more important to me for context, because it sort of was like, oh, Starfleet was making terrible decisions. Do you know what I mean? And like,
Starfleet was being really reclusive. Starfleet became kind of like a humans only club.
Yeah. Well, and
even it's humans, and even in it's neglecting.
Yeah. And in this section here, like, it feels extremely militant. So we're in a cell, the bad Starfleet guys in their jumpers open the door with, you know, handcuffs, and then they go and they stand before the judge and they're given, like, it's just really grim. And at first I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can understand that's because it's Starfleet. But then you get the picture that she's like, don't trust them. And like, whoa, this is not my usual space to start.
That's the opposite of Starfleet. Like, you should be able to trust them. They kind of ended up being the police of the galaxy, and they're doing the opposite.
So I think through context clues, you're picking those things up if you're thinking about it. Would I have preferred them say, like, and so Starfleet, we have to be careful with our resources? Not really, because she kind of indicates it. Like, this went from just a felony to this kind of a felony because someone died and I can't do anything about that. That sounds very American to me. That's American politics right there. It
really did. And the trial itself was this is clearly not the trial, but this was a sentencing.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting how it was in this closed off room, no witnesses, no representation. We didn't get to see what the trial was, if there was a trial, but it was very ramshackle. Like, it was just it looked like it was in a room that was available. Like, yeah, exactly. It looked like hey,
you're
a
over here.
Trial.
We can't do anything about that. So we're going to go ahead and be the judge and the jury.
Yep. And that was the final straw, where it's just, oh, I'm out of Starfleet. I've seen enough of Starfleet to know this isn't what I want it to be.
This is the kind of shit that makes Q show up and fuck with you.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, where was Q? Yeah, this is the evidence that he would present as you are not worthy of being in space. Mm-hmm. Well, good. I mean, Q, we know, is dead at this point.
Oh. Thanks for that reminder.
We don't know that.
We don't?
No, because they kind of retconned it at the end of Picard season 3.
Did they?
Yeah. Post-credit scene, Q reappears to talk to Picard's son.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an implication that he's going to take him on an adventure. Anyway, side note,
I forgot that. No. I brought up Q. It was my bad.
What I do want to quickly tap into there with Captain Kitty, Captain Nala, is that the reason she is 422 years old is because she is a Lanthanite. And do you remember?
Part Lanthanite?
She's part Lanthanite, yes. And do you know who the other Lanthanite is that we are aware of?
Okay, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Eccentric.
Get the clues.
Short.
Yep. Blonde.
Raspy voice.
Yes.
A collector of items.
Yes.
Hold on a second.
Yep.
Petri dish is coming to mind.
Yep.
What's her name? Captain Petri dish.
I mean, you're close. It is Pelia from Strange New Worlds. She is also a Lanthanite. So yeah, I think that's...
Now, listener, if you didn't watch any of this, all you need to know is that there is an episode of Strange New Worlds where Pelia goes into her hoard of collected items on the starship and pulls out old phones and plugs them into the wall so they can communicate. That's all you need to know.
Yes, it works. Yes, it works. That's all you need to know about the Lanthanites. I just think it's interesting that they've kind of latched onto lanthanites with their ability for longevity and how advantageous that is and what that can do.
It's so smart from a storytelling perspective when you have a show like this that goes over centuries and centuries of time.
During this scene, we're obviously introduced to the pirate Nus Braka, who is Paul Giamatti just eating up scenery, just devouring everything. He got to handpick which character he was going to play. No surprise that he picked this scenery-eating bad guy.
Here's an interesting thing that I'm just now reflecting on. Every single time this character is on the screen, when you say eating it up, I think what that means is where maybe one actor would just be standing still waiting for their next time that they're supposed to speak their lines. He's not staying in some kind of like specific lane for the way that he is taking on this role. This character never shuts up, never stops moving, never stops making faces, is always on.
That's what I mean by chewing it up.
Yeah, so he is like legitimately chewing it up.
He's like touching everything. He's like floating around everywhere. Just
he's
like
making noises.
My pretty.
He is the most twirly mustache villain that I've seen in a long time.
And therein lies my one critique. Is my least favorite villains are the villains that know they're villains. He knows he's evil. He's swimming in it. That, for me, makes a less interesting villain. When they know they're dastardly, they know they're the bad guy. My favorite villains are the ones that don't know or don't believe they're the villain. They believe they are doing the right thing, and they can have selfish motivations, but they're righteous in their beliefs. I don't really know what he believes in other than kind of Ferengi-ish. Maybe it's just chaos. Maybe it's just... But even Q's chaos is like he thinks he's teaching people a lesson and he's entertaining himself. Nus is still some to be decided for me, but I am enjoying Paul Giamatti's performance.
Q is a villain with charisma.
Yeah.
And curiosity. And the way that Q delivers his like performance, his presentation, is like watching someone do a Shakespearean play where they're like, "What thou forth to do the thing, the blah, blah, blah." Like he's very poetic.
Deliberately so.
And he's just flamboyant.
Yes.
This evil person is the quintessential bad guy you want to see where you don't have to question that person. And I think it's smart to do that in this show because everybody else can be the conflicted, am I a good guy, am I a bad guy vibe.
Okay, I see.
And if we had another one of those, I think it would be almost more annoying. I'm relieved to very clearly be able to say,
no, I don't have to like this person.
You're an annoying ass. I don't really care what happens to you at this point.
That's fair.
Maybe later on they give him a backstory. We find out that his mother didn't love him, and then we can like feel bad for him later on. Because that's modern storytelling. Is we don't usually get to see characters like this anymore. This is like 90s TV. Where the bad guy shows up on a TNG episode and you have no second thoughts about them getting killed in the corridor.
Yeah, I'm my own worst enemy here. Not every villain can be Khan. Not every villain needs to be as complex as that. There is a fun kind of like delineation that he is clearly the bad guy and there is some confidence that he needs to be. I guess because I live in Star Trek as a real world, he felt the least real character to me because of his mustache twirliness, because of he's a cartoon character. Like that is harder for me to buy into as a real living, breathing person.
Let me just say this. If this was a real person, he'd be one of the scariest people in the entire universe.
Exactly.
Because really someone with this much bravado knows their power and authority.
Hold on to how much you hate me, kid. It'll keep you warm at night. That is, to a 6-year-old, that's fucked up on so many levels. It's a well-written, great delivered line. I love it. But at that point, I was like, oh, there is no dimension to you. You're just evil.
No, this is a psychopath.
Yes.
He's somebody who is the most egocentric character I think I've seen on screen in a while.
Yeah.
And self-aware, like so confident, so enjoys so much just mentally fucking with people. It's not even that they spend time like eating or sleeping. It's just every waking moment is they're like built to just cause you suffering.
He's definitely
saying their own delight.
He's definitely saying affirmations in the mirror. Like he's very, very self-actualized and is very confident in who he is.
Watching someone play a character like this is kind of fun though. Like it has been a while.
Completely agree.
That I have done that in the show. At the very end, he jettisons himself out of a
escape pod, yeah.
And so we kind of have the dun, dun, dun to be continued vibe with him. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
He exists.
We don't have to deal with them in one episode.
He exists solely to have that. He has information that, the little boy wants because, turns out later on he helps the mom escape somehow. He
escaped with the mother.
So he has information Caleb needs. And so that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's just, I wonder what we're seeing him captured and mad about it and causing Starfleet chaos because he's being literally neck tortured because every time he moves he just gets stabbed or not stabbed but shocked collar. Essentially.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. So yeah, he's just giving it to the man, and the next time you see him he's also giving it to the man because he's in a position, even though he's not in a position of power in the first bit where he's actually captured, he is in a position of power in the second time, and then his power is taken away, but you still get the vibe I'm not done yet. I'm gonna figure out how to make this.
It's never the end.
Yeah, it's never the end. And that kind of a bad guy is, because it's charismatic in this interesting way, it's very Ferengi-esque in a way. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it.
Don't pick a fight with a Klingorite?
Yeah, so what's a Klingorite?
A Klingon plus Tellarite. So Tellarite...
What's a Tellarite again?
Tellarites are... Jankum in Prodigy, he's a Tellarite. Jankum can fix anything. And they're kind of like pig people. But their big characteristic, they were introduced in the original series, their big characteristic is that they love to argue, and they will take the opposing...
The antagonist. That makes so much sense for why he's that way then. Oh, it's perfect.
They will take the opposite side of an argument regardless of what they believe.
Then he's playing this perfectly.
Yes. Oh, no, completely agree. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What a great antagonist, because they are literally built to antagonize.
Yeah, they are built to antagonize. But what's interesting is that they're one of the founding members of the Federation as well. So
that makes sense.
And when you do diplomacy with them, you have to argue back. You have to shout back at them.
Because it's an honor.
And it's insulting. If you kind of back down and try to placate them, they're like, you're not worthy of my time.
So here's a little bit of an insight into our actual real life. I have only recently, in the last week, learned that arguing about whether or not to receive a gift or food or whatever is a cultural thing for my Moroccan foreign exchange sister.
Yes.
My parents are hosting a foreign exchange student. She was talking about how it's customary to kind of argue about...
Politely decline the first offer of a gift or food, a drink. Yeah.
And you were like, we do this too in England. And then all of a sudden it clicked why it's just been such a weird thing between us that you're kind of like, you sort of are missing that back and forth sort of argument. To me, it's an argument.
Yeah.
To you, it's like, no, this is how you talk.
No, this is how I accept your food guilt-free.
It's a Tellarite thing.
Yeah, it's a Tellarite thing. Absolutely.
Tellarite.
Yeah.
You tell them right. That's it.
Wow,
okay.
that's... Oh my gosh, is that why they're called Tellarites?
Probably, yeah.
That's amazing. We've heard that they... I think it's Journey to Babel, which is the first TOS episode where they're introduced, and they're established a bit more in Enterprise as well. So I agree. This is an incredible characterization. I don't think there's anything wrong with how they're doing it or how they're presenting it. It's just that cartoony villain that was a bit jarring for me.
Well, you mix a Tellarite with a
Klingon,
that fears nothing, and you have this driven DNA aspect of this character
and
that's
strong
really
with the Klingon strength. Yeah. I think it's really, really smart. And it's one of the things we mentioned in our preview that I was excited about, which is the merging that has happened over the last 700 to 800 years, the barriers that have broken down, and the different alien species mingling that we're going to have.
This is going to be so fun.
It's so fun. We haven't even got to the Jem'Hadar
yet. 5 minutes into the show.
Only 5 minutes in.
But this is the kind of backstory of these characters I think we're going to dig into a little bit, because when we meet the cadets later, there's just these different species that maybe... Are all of them, are some of them new? Are they?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely. I'm going to be learning about them with you. After that, we jump ahead 15 years to see Caleb Meir in his grown-up stage as a 21-year-old, 21 or 22, with some exposition droid explaining all of his crimes and whatnot. On his way to the Toroth penal colony.
I thought it was the Vrillik.
The planet is Toroth, and then that's the name of the penal colony.
I wrote it down. That's why I got to say that impressively.
You did. I got very excited that you named the place. Toroth isn't particularly special. It's mentioned in Strange New Worlds. and in Picard, but it's not like, oh, hey, this happened on Toroth.
I don't care anything about the names of places.
Oh, I do, though.
At all.
That's my thing.
But what I do care about is how fucking cool this transport ship is.
It looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
Even the shuttles.
I'm just like...
I'm so excited about... This scene is so fun.
We are on the same page.
Let's talk about it.
We are on the same page, and I love it. Like, we're often on the same page, but not often about ships and stuff.
This is fucking cool.
This is really cool. Pay
attention to how this scene is shot. It's really fun.
This scene was the first real moment where I was like, wait a minute, am I enjoying this? And I was like... And that's such a horrible thing to say.
Because we're only 8 minutes in and you should have loved it from the moment that it started.
But I was just prepped, and especially action, Discovery and Picard and quite a bit of Strange New Worlds have absolutely shit the bed on choreographing action. And it's fine. Star Trek, I don't come to Star Trek for that. It doesn't have to be great. Yeah, we don't need spinny cams. But we 100% don't need to vomit every time the camera decides to invert my vision. But I was like, wait a minute. This is choreographed excellently. Like, this fighting is great. I understand what's happening to the shuttle. The shuttle looks great. This kind of Han Solo joyride thing was happening. And I'm like, am I watching Star Wars right now? Because this is something that Star Wars does really well.
At one point in time, there was like a da-da-da-da-da-da, like for music in the back. I was like, that was a little too much Star Wars in my Star Trek because the sound kind of got there.
It dipped a little bit, but I was just proud of Star Trek. They're learning something. I was just proud of Star Trek. It's like watching, this is so patronizing, but it's like watching your kid like just score a goal or something. I'm like, you did it. Well done, Star Trek. You did some action. You did a thing.
We have a lot of action in this episode, and this is definitely the first time that we're really seeing them flex. But one of the things I really like is the way that it just, these little nods to Star Trek. And it starts with the very first moment we're looking at this colony and we're looking kind of through the view screen of this shuttle, and this little floaty device kind of leaves the control area where the pilot is.
The exposition orb.
Yes. And then it sort of goes through the containment field, and then you realize as it's talking about like this juvenile offense.
I don't know, checking the prisoners on who the prisoners are meant to be now that you're arriving.
Yeah, it's just making sure, this is the person, this is why they're there. And we're learning about basically Caleb, this kid who's now, it's been 15, years, and he's really done a lot of stuff. And then the guards on this shuttle transport begin to kind of egg him on, and they get into a fight. And then Caleb takes the ship over. But there's little nods to Star Trek where it just goes to the little containment field, and it lets us realize we're on a ship that each of these pods has a containment field. We don't need to be told every single thing about how this works, but I loved that so much. And yes, then we go into this action sequence that's really fun, because not only is there a physical fight that's going to happen, but on top of that, when he takes over the ship, it has to go up mountains, and it's like a ride.
Gravity changes inside the ship.
Gravity changes.
But I still understood. It was really clever how it switched from internal to external shots. Yeah. I understood what was happening.
Right.
It wasn't just shake the cam.
Yeah.
It was give it a moment to let everything breathe.
And it also establishes that Caleb knows how to fly a ship. He knows how to hack. Yes. He knows how to fight.
I've got to say, Sandro Roster, who is Caleb, incredible. Like, physically, I think he's a presence, and he's incredible.
Beautiful.
He is a highlight of the episode. Like, the casting, Star Trek lives and dies by its casting.
Oh, I'm here for all of it.
Even Strange New Worlds, like season 2, we shit the bed, we didn't like it. I'm still there because they nailed the casting, and I think they're doing the same thing with this show.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the casting, and it does start with Caleb in this like, now I'm a grown man, and I'm gonna kill you, and he just looks so foreboding, and he's really ominous in each of these scenes until he walks through at Starfleet, but we'll get to that.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Can we, before we go on, and I'm going to talk a lot about visually because I think this is a stunning episode, but just super briefly.
Yeah.
That moment whenever his shuttle is captured and it's tractor beamed up into the ship, it's stunning.
Yeah.
Everything is so beautiful in this episode, but it was so beautiful because this is like Earth stuff. It's not just space. Like a lot of times you're like, you're looking at something and it's just like, oh, this reminds, because there's clouds. So it's looking up through the clouds at this presence of the ship on the other side of clouds, and they've managed to get the light coming through to suck up the shuttle. So it's all of these like images that they built in a fucking computer that make it look really, realistic. That's the stuff that makes us seem like it's kind of like part. I'm so excited about this show right now. I got to calm down.
And you don't. You know what? One word is daylight. Rewatch this episode at some point and watch how much of it happens during, how much of those scenes happen during daylight. It's brightly lit. Even the bridge is more brightly lit. It's still dark, but it's more brightly lit than Discovery. It's definitely geared more. It felt more like the Strange New Worlds bridge with the red and some of the setup and the lighting. But that escape on the prison ship, it's in a planet at daylight.
Fun. Yeah, it's well lit.
You can hide so much in the dark, and they don't do that so much in this episode, and I love it. Keep going it. Please take these lessons.
We've got some really, really great design artists on the team, and I for one appreciate it. But where they fall immediately flat for me, and the worst part of this episode, hands down, is immediately after that shot. I'm looking up at this spaceship through the clouds going, wow, that looks really, really pretty. And then we just go to a fucking flag waving and then the word Star Trek.
Okay.
And I'm just like, that is, it is so lackluster. It is so disappointing. I am so mad about it. We don't even have an introduction to the show. There's nothing that kicks off and goes, and that
is a key part of Star Trek. That genuinely is.
Like no fucking new music. It's just a goddamn flag that's CGI waving in darkness, and it looks like dog shit.
But
that's that. I gotta get that out. What?
Ad Astra Pura
I don't fucking care.
Okay, I'm going to make a prediction. I think episode 2 will have our full intro. I don't care
anymore. It's ruined for me.
No, that's
forever.
It.
Yeah. I mean, okay, listen, we're gonna watch the second episode.
And you're gonna love it
when this ends, and I might love it. And maybe I'll be like, hey, past Deneé, that's recording this at 1:29 p.m. on this particular moment. You were wrong, but it was such a shock. It's such a shock to go from this beautiful shot, well lit, glorious evidence of our capabilities to a dark screen with a it looked like a Windows 98.
It
was so bad. Anyway, I'm mad about it.
I'm with you. And
a dinky Star Trek in little gold writing. Star Trek. Ooh.
Each show, its theme and opening credit sequence is inexorably linked to the show. It's so iconic. Each show has its own theme. Discovery is a little bit harder to pass, but it's still there. I get it being shocking, but I think it's a pacing thing. I think we don't want a minute of... I think we don't want a minute...
Stop trying to defend it.
I think so. But however, this defense, I will delete it from the record if they don't introduce one in episode 2. We have to have an opening sequence. We have to have a theme tune.
Well, it's there in the credits. We can hear
and I
their
think
song.
That's it. Yes.
And I'm excited to hear it, but it's done for me. And here's
I'm gonna respect that.
And here's why. Yeah. They could have just not done anything.
Fair. Yes.
Not doing anything would have been better than a little wavy flag.
Especially if we never see that flag again. Like, it was only made as to bridge the gap. Like, then just don't make it. Yeah, no.
With just Star Trek and then the name of the show on it. And how many shows out there have a better, in every single one has a better something title card in there. It was really disappointing.
I'm with you.
And the only reason it stands out is because everything else is so fucking
Everything
great.
else is so great. Okay.
Anyway, I had to talk about that before we go into Bajor, and then Captain Kitty is drawn back to Starfleet.
She is drawn back to Starfleet. She is surrounded by some CGI alien kids. They're not CGI, but I think some of the color palette was done via CGI. I don't think they actually put the kids through makeup. But yeah, she is dragged back she is brought back to Top Gun. In every cliche scene ever, you're being recalled. We need you back. You've left the service, but we need you and we have to do it. But even though it's cliche, it worked for me. And honestly, anything to see Admiral Charles Vance come on screen again, Ambassador.
I won't understand the impact.
Let me tell you who he is. Just let me tell you. He was an absolute highlight in Discovery season 3, 4, and 5. He's basically the head of what's left of Starfleet and kind of welcomes Discovery back into the fold, and he has to hold some hard lines, but he's the guy that his character was always the one that holds the hard lines, but then he's got your back and he will go to bat for his people. So whenever like Burnham needed that support, he's like, take Discovery, do it, I'll cover for you. And then he will like bridge the gap between the higher ups at Starfleet and the people on the ground that need it. So he was like just the Yoda figure for Discovery, and he's just all charisma. This Vance right now embodies what Starfleet can be. He admits that he wasn't 15 years ago because he was against. He said that he was dead wrong and he was against.
He was okay with splitting the mother and the child up.
Yes, exactly. So he's obviously had some evolution, but he was just a bright spot. The Dadmiral is what he was called in Discovery, Dadmiral Vance, because he just has this warming dad energy. Probably more grandpa energy that's just like guiding and nurturing. And I love him.
And he is the one that's not only asking her to come back, but explain that the only new mission is just building a future for the kids. And that because she's part Lantern Light.
Lanternite? Mm-hmm. Lantern Light, yes.
She has been around for centuries and saw Starfleet at its best. And so she's just like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make any more promises to kids that I can't keep, which is smart. You should probably stop doing that.
That's fair.
And then she's like, sorry. And she walks away and he dangles the Caleb carrot. And
Burying
then
the lead.
She immediately goes, where? And we transition to the holding prison.
Yes. So she apologizes to Caleb, dangles a carrot.
She then dangles the carrot.
And then dangles another carrot of, well, we have your mother. So it's like, well, we have Caleb. And then she's like, well, we have your mother. We don't have her, but we know she's escaped. And Starfleet is your best opportunity to find her. And it's really fucked up. Like, Nuss Bracker lays this out perfectly later. Like, it's pretty fucking twisted that you separated them and now you've put him into Starfleet as the only way to find her again. Like, yes, Nala is well-intentioned, but that's pretty dark. And I kind of love it. It's like, it's really, really complicated. Like, and I love that Caleb has this kind of duality to face into. Like, just imagine inevitably when his mother sees him in a Starfleet uniform, it's going to be... Drama.
No, trauma.
Yeah, trauma.
And drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely highlights Captain Kitty's selfishness because the reason that she wants to do this is because she is trying to make right with what she believes is her wrong.
Yeah,
because she
clearing.
Thinks that there was a possibility that even though the orders came from Starfleet to separate the two of them, that she could have done a bait and switch kind of a thing.
And even that was like a reference to like all of the courtroom dramas in Star Trek. There is a bait and switch. There is something tricky that happens. There is a convincing argument. And she's kind of saying like, we don't get the TNG ending to their story.
Yes. In that scene when she kind of makes her plea to Caleb to come with her and the selfishness of all of that, that she's kind of involved in, it does benefit him. He is going to be run a lot of tech and it does give him access to a lot of things that we hope that he fucks with. And he does in this episode. And that's really, really fun. But the transition of him becoming this like, muzzled, handcuffed enemy when he looms over Captain Kitty in that scene.
Oh my gosh.
When she's like, oh, you're going to try to escape. I'll turn my back on you. And then he actually gets up and just the way that it's shot, the kind of angles that the direction of the camera moves to really emphasize the size difference between this kid and her. And it's such a great thing because, you know, there's a lot of characters that you could put in this moment that would loom over, you know, your Captain Kitty kind of a person. But doing that with a young man where when she begins to talk with authority back over him, he shrinks back and you can see the camera shift and the power shift. And it's part of the fun part of watching well done direction in a show. Is that,
this is really confidently directed.
And there's so many different like things we see, you know, even as they arrive on this planet that is housing Caleb or holding him in this thing. And she kind of goes in and she's like, what are you doing here? Like, they're going to cut off your fingers. Then they're going to cut off your hands at your wrists. And then they're going to make you dig holes with your nubs. But so we know we're in a bad place. It doesn't look great either. There's steam inside of this very industrial looking room. There's like the wall is moving in sort of a fan breathing sort of motion. But the exterior shot that they show us when they land is these interesting kind of like lush land with some pools and some stuff. Like, it's just, there's so much they're showing us so much more than we need. But then on top of that, to get the angles right so that you feel the looming and you feel the power switch even before the character reveals that they've decided to go. It really, I don't know. Every scene is just, it's operating the way that you want it to operate. I mean, the way that I can't talk for you, listener. I don't know what you like. And I'm sorry. I'm imagining if someone's listening, they're going, God damn it, I hated this episode. You know?
Right. This is the interesting thing. It has had mixed reviews and I'm kind of putting that to one side. Like, if you join our lovely Captain's Pod, Ian and Deneé Discord, a large portion has been really positive. Like, they've really enjoyed this opening episode. The critics have been all over the spectrum, kind of with like middling reviews. We may be the hottest on it.
I don't know.
Now. We may have the biggest positive opinion about this episode.
I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said about it just like overdoing it to some degree, but I don't know. I don't think that that's true, because there's like these little subtle things that's happening, like the way that Holly is her name, the actor's name for
Holly
Captain
Hunter,
Kitty.
Yes.
So like when Caleb steps back away from her after he kind of looms over her, there's just this tiny little breath of relief that she just kind of goes, like you can tell that even she was like, oh, that wasn't blind confidence. Was a little much.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oops.
And that sort of acting goes through the entire episode for me, for the ones that have been acting for a long time, the confidence that they bring to the screen. But then even the young actors, the ones that we're kind of seeing for the first time, there's a lot that's happening with them too that I'm, really, really enjoying. And, some things I can maybe see where people will be like, okay, that's a bit much for me. Or
yeah, maybe some of it is a
bit
little
too cliche for me.
With the cliches, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or, a non-violent Klingon. Oh, didn't see that coming. Whatever, whatever you want to get upset about. But for me, I'm excited because like we said at the beginning, it is new Star Trek. But anyhow, so she talks about this treaty for like this low-level offender to do a rehabilitation service into Starfleet, and that she's going to be the chancellor. She says, come with me. And he's like, this conversation feels so familiar and reminds like Holly that the last thing my mother said is don't trust him. Mm-hmm. She actually remembers it because she was there and it's haunted her for a long, long time.
Yep, this seems familiar.
And he looks pretty defeated as this sort of like back and forth goes. But even the lighting is interesting. Behind her is like this red danger, but the lighting on her face is blue, like this sort of like regretful hope that he's going to join. And then he resigns and nods. And I wrote in my notes, well, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be so far. And I love it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was getting to this point because we're spending quite a large amount of time on this very individual story. It wasn't dive in, here's Starfleet Academy, here's everybody. It deliberately spends a long time just on Caleb's story. And I really, really like that. I really appreciate that. Like, it is a very focused opening and a very intentional and confident opening.
Well, I think we need to have an understanding. We need to like have something to bring us into the characters. If we just start off where it's like, here's the characters in front of you, then we sort of inadvertently begin to attach ourselves to the one that we relate with the most. But they're forcing us to relate to this child from a moment when he was very young, 15 years in the past, to see this trauma that forged his future and has given him the skill set that we're going to see play out. Like, if we would have just met Caleb and he had a complicated past and he's a great hacker, that's not nearly as interesting as a kid who's been breaking out of prison and found himself at one of the worst ones because he hacked some Imperial people. Like, yeah, we're seeing like something important.
If they held on to that backstory until like episode 6 and then revealed it in flashbacks, like I love that we're
told. Right in there with it.
We're just being told what his backstory is.
It is pretty bold, and it gives us an understanding too about maybe the reason that Captain Kitty would like give him a moment to try, because she knows what he's capable of. Because he hacked an Imperial system. So it's not like let me just check your roster and see your credentials and make sure that you can do this. She's like, no, I know he can do this. And I don't know, it gives more of a confidence that when shit goes down on the ship, that the cadets are taking over, and it kind of makes sense why they're doing that. But the next thing that we're on is another fucking transporter, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about ships. Oh wait, yes I fucking am, because we're on basically like a bus.
Yeah, it's a little shuttle bus.
A little shuttle bus. Yeah. It's very familiar for anyone who's been on a subway, has some comfy seats, and then she's sort of like going through her files, which, by the way, are transparent, so any confidential information can be seen from the other people.
100%. Yeah.
But we're definitely in the floating in front of us technology of Star Trek.
Well, it's being projected from her comm badge.
Oh,
so their comm badges kind of act as tricorders.
When did they introduce this tech?
Discovery.
Because
they're in the 32nd century, so the transporters the comm badges act as immediate transporters as well. And
I noticed
information
that when number 1 did that.
And they can scan things.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
They've kind of that 700 years, they've combined everything into one little gadget that can be easily stolen. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and it can be stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's stupid.
As Caleb did.
Yeah.
Very stupid.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe in the next century, they're going to be embedded into our bodies.
I mean, I'm amazed they aren't already.
But we get to, on this transport vessel, not only see that she's kind of prepping to do what her next job is going to be, but we're also seeing the begrudged cadet not want to put on this school uniform. And that is what kind of kicks us into some of the humor of this episode. We're not there yet, but it pays off.
You have to get a regulation haircut.
Then we get the grand old walk-in because he's looking out. He's like, this thing is taking us to the school? And she's like, that is the school.
Oh yeah, does this ship belong to the school? He's like, that is the school.
And then we finally enter into it. How do you feel?
Wait. No, we don't finally enter into it. We get an external shot of the Athena, you crazy lady.
We're not done talking about ships.
We get a beautiful external shot of the saucer section of the Athena. It's this very much 32nd century design aesthetic, which has all of like the separated nacelles and like this kind of not modular format, but everything is like disconnected and can be reshaped and reformatted. It's
a fucking transformer.
It's a transformer. Yeah, the technology of the 3100 is Transformers. 392023. Yeah, I'm sure there is significance to that. I haven't dove in and had a look yet. It's the 39th century. No, it's not that.
And it was 2023 when the ship was created by somebody when they were doodling.
Technically, it would be the 392nd design of ship, and this is the 23rd in that line, if we follow the 1701 model.
But really, it's because when the person thought of this ship before they went to bed, they were 39 years old, and it was on the 20th day, and they were only 23 years old.
Maybe they got the green light for the show in 2023?
Maybe
that's what it was?
Who knows?
Anyway, somebody knows.
We get to see the Athena.
Looks beautiful. I'm already deeply in love with this ship. Then we go inside Athena and get the setup for the Academy. This is where like my happy smile comes into place. We've wrapped up the really, really darkness, dystopia element mostly.
Tragic child backstory.
And now we're into very much the optimism and hope and the like Breakfast Club coming of age kookiness, and it all worked for me. Like, humor doesn't always go well in Star Trek. The humor hit me so well in this first episode.
It did me too. Everything's working for me. I don't know why I didn't think that there was going to be an emergency between point A and point B.
Oh, it's wild.
But yeah. I was like, we're going to take the ship and then we're going to get to
we're just going to have a happy adventure and do some learning.
I did not expect...
It's going to be like Scrubs.
I did not expect that like we are going to immediately destroy the ship and do some fucking damage. Like I didn't see a space battle kind of coming. So like when I'm watching this moment, it's like, oh, this is the school that's going to be this way forever.
There we go. It's going to be so nice. And that cherry blossom tree is going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Little note, Stephen Colbert is the Academy voice.
That's funny.
So not the computer voice, right, but he does the PA announcement.
Right. So Attention all personnel, the mess hall is open.
Because your real enemy is hangry, and hangry is the real enemy.
Sometimes hanger is the greatest enemy of all.
I love that Stephen Colbert gets to live in Star Trek a little bit.
Yeah, this atrium is really, really cool.
It's beautiful.
Like, it's sort of like when you're coming in, it's a lot of reds. It's a lot of lights that, neon lights lining the red. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of black. It's a lot of shiny.
Like the aesthetic of Discovery onwards and Strange New Worlds has been
very shiny
for whatever reason.
Red, black, white, shiny.
I do miss the carpets.
It would have been so much more comfortable if we would have seen what an actual college looks like with just its mismatched tiles on the floor and its very grody walls.
Oh my God.
The door that when it opens, it squeaks and hits a little bit, and the chairs that when you sit in definitely make the little scraping sound of the metal on the tiles.
Yeah, everything smells.
That's not this. This is the school you wish you could go to.
You really do. We are quickly introduced to the cadet master.
Oh boy.
Who immediately, and this was so relieving, immediately puts Caleb in his place because he's like, I'm not getting a haircut, I'm not wearing the uniform. Before Nala has a chance to say anything, cadet master, let me just get her name.
I have regrets about what I called her in my notes.
You don't have to share it.
I called her lizard face lady.
You try saying that to her face.
And then a little bit later on, I said Klingon, not a lizard. Like, oh no.
Also not a Klingon.
She's not a Klingon?
A half Klingon.
Okay, so she's half Klingon, half lizard. Is she Gorn? Is she a Gorn Klingon? Is she Klingorn?
Klingon. How is there not a Klingon anywhere?
There
That's
has to
amazing.
be. It would be like such a, like that. It would be just like a dominant race.
They would. If they ever interbred, that would be the absolute dominant race of the galaxy.
But she does have very much like the kind of a prosthetic. It's really, really cool. It's kind of like if you would put on like a lizard skull kind of over the top of the head, but then she has beautiful long black hair down her back. It's one of the greatest prosthetics ever. And it's really fun because she is able to emote through this piece so well for the rest of the episode. And she just embodies this intense Klingon honor vibe. She's incredibly strong. She's incredibly dominant. And yeah, you're absolutely right. The way that she puts Caleb kind of into his place and the way that he falls into line makes me feel comfort, honestly, because Starfleet is supposed to be about kind of like the chain of command.
Yes.
So did you figure out her name?
So her name is Laura Thok. I love her so much. I love everything about her. I agree. The aesthetic is one of my favorite aesthetics. It reminded me of a TNG prosthetic. It looked like just physical. It looked like a physical really makeup job, and I absolutely love that so much. She is a merger. She is part Klingon, part Jem'Hadar, which is
I know that word.
You do know that word, Ambassador.
That's a word that I
pull it out. What are the Jem'Hadar?
Romulan secret spy group?
Nope, that's the Tal Shiar.
God damn it.
Let's go. That was amazing. I'm so proud of you. Tal Shiar, very close. But you do know the Jem'Hadar from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
So these are the main... so the Deep Space Nine is at war with the Dominion. The Jem'Hadar are a series of clones.
Oh, it's that sassy
people.
Guy.
The sassy guy.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Wait.
No, I'm thinking of, again, the wrong...
You're thinking of a different sassy guy, probably.
I think he's a Kardashian. Is he a Kardashian?
He's a spy guy? No, oh my God, you're thinking of Garak. Garak is a Cardassian.
It's weird because the one that's prosthetics are like spiky.
Yeah.
It's like, I can see it, but that's not it. Okay, so that's not it.
But no, the Jem'Hadar are this kind of blue-grey shade to them. So you would have seen them in Tough Little Ship, or One Little Ship, which is when the Defiant gets shrunk down and the Jem'Hadar have taken... The shuttle gets shrunk down because the Jem'Hadar have taken over the shuttle. So they are important because they were kind of like the foot soldiers of the Dominion. They were like the boots on the ground. They were cloned and bred just to be soldiers. They also do not have females. They only have males. They are just bred to be soldiers and that's it. And they live to be about 6 years old.
And they can apparently have relations with Klingons.
But now, after 700 to 800 years, there has been enough Jem'Hadar about that we now have Lady Jem'Hadar.
Oh, do we?
Well, she's a lady.
But she could have been...
Or could have been a lady Klingon, I guess.
A male Jem'Hadar had...
Yeah.
I mean, like...
A male Jem'Hadar with a lady Klingon.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, something interesting has happened. But it is incredible to merge the Jem'Hadar and the Klingons. And obviously you get this hyper-aggressive, incredible woman. She was one of my highlights of the episode as well.
100%.
Lower decker duties. I'm going to put you on vomit monitor. And she actually says lower decker duties, which is just such a fun reference.
Characters like this are so important, especially when your Captain Kitty kind of has a chill vibe.
Yeah, chaotic chill, I think is a good word for her.
Yeah, she's capable, she's experienced, she's got a good plan. Everybody's like, yep, you're in charge. Like, I don't doubt that, and I'm not feeling any kind of way. She did a great speech for the cadets when they kind of come on. But when you don't have that dominant presence, that drill sergeant vibe when it comes to like having all the kids in, you know.
You need that with kids as well. You need that with all of the hormones and whatnot, and they're not used to being in the chain of command.
Well, we need it across the board in some ways too, and we get it with the Doctor in his own way. So you definitely get the vibe in this whole sequence that the adults are in charge, and they will be obeyed, and that's great.
I love it. She's a great balance too. They're a great number one, like captain and number one. Like that's a great pairing. She pulls in another very interesting character, Jaden Krah, who is essentially a pacifist Klingon following kind of like a biomedical route instead of
molecular biology, I believe.
I think it was a focus on like regenerative things, like regrowing stuff. I didn't quite catch it, but anyway, like yes, you could say it's a little bit cliche to get the Klingon and then have them pursue the opposite. Star Trek has done it before, but I still liked him.
I did too. He does not
very endearing.
He doesn't yearn for death.
No,
he yearns for alien life.
I love it.
So and he has they have a voice modulator on him as well.
A little bit distracting.
Yes. It is a little distracting, but you get the idea that the Klingon voice is always meant to be that sort of
yeah, but
really
Michael Dorn
resonant.
did it without a modulator. That's not Michael Dorn's regular voice. So I don't know. The voice modulator was a bit distracting for me. I would have liked to see the actor just
What if
do it.
He has it on to sound intimidating and he takes it off later in the episode?
His actual voice is really high pitched. Don't do it. I'm telling you now. I know you've already filmed your episodes, but don't do it, Starfleet Academy. Don't give him Quark's voice.
But I did put in his voice is intense, and then they have to go for their physical. And
who's giving the physicals, Ambassador?
It's the Voyager doctor.
It's the doctor. You squeed.
I did squee.
Excellent writing for the doctor. They absolutely nailed it. How do you have a parasite already? Did you bathe in a bog?
We missed the humor moment when he walks in and he's all shaved.
Oh, totally missed that. Let's roll back a little bit. Yeah.
Because as soon as he goes to the doctor, yeah.
And gets violated mid-transport,
yeah.
Gets put in a uniform, gets a haircut. It's mother.
Yeah, that was great.
I loved that. I have questions about that, though, because the Klingon doesn't have to get a haircut. Holly Hunter doesn't have to get a haircut. Why does he have to get a haircut?
It is a bit wild, isn't it?
It's wild.
I guess when you're filling out your form, one of the questions is your hair a religious symbol?
I guess it has to be.
Is your hair a meaningful symbol? And so they kind of know what they can and cannot do. Because if they would have cut off, Jaden, the Klingon's hair, isn't that his name? Jaden or something like
Jaden
that? So yeah, that was a bit it was funny because we talked about the transporter being able to do incredible things that are just not really adventured with very much. And here's the perfect example.
Less hair.
Yeah. The question, where did my clothes go?
Right, where did my hair go?
Where did my hair go?
It's all being recycled.
Can he turn around and go back through? And it's the Wonka Vision thing where
put it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it all back on, please.
Yeah, he is shook and he says he drops an attempted F-bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they're in the doctor line, and that's really fun.
I do have a question. Do you like the uniforms, actually, for Discovery?
Yeah.
Sorry, for Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, and here's why. I wasn't distracted by him. I didn't think about it too much.
Interesting.
I don't really want there to be something on screen that is as loud as the
set
very
itself.
Subtle.
It's grey with the strip of colour.
If they had done anything else, I think literally
it's all
think
you would have been
about the
looking
set.
At. Yeah.
It is so loud. The set is there are shiny bits of chrome and light and black and red everywhere. There's screens everywhere. It's a really, really cool bridge. It's a really, really cool thing. But if the characters were in bright colors, I think I would be I would have a totally different opinion about the visual of the show.
Fair. They're not my favourite uniforms, but I do like them. They have grown on me over Discovery. They used to actually be bold colour with a strip of black, I think, but then they switched it. So now it's just grey with the strip of colour. I think, they're okay.
I think what's also different about shooting a show in these times is that the little subtle prosthetics, the little subtle ways they can do their makeup with these great cameras and the ability to really get in on the face and just see so much.
Yeah, much different filming techniques.
So different.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where the detail goes in now, and the sets themselves and the CGI. Whereas the costuming doesn't have to do a lot of acting because of the way that the cameras are. TOS,
they were just happy to be in color.
Right. Yeah. Let's just make it have some lights blinking in the background. Let's have this kind of stand out.
I don't know. I kind of prefer that. I
put on some eyeliner and we're good to go.
Yeah, I think we're too busy on the bridges nowadays.
Oh yeah, it's incredibly distracting.
Yeah, I want some more beige.
But the only reason that I'm okay with it is the balance of the simplicity of the costume.
That's fair. So for me, a triumphant return of the Doctor. I think it completely makes sense for him to be there. I am relieved it is our Doctor. It isn't a different EMH that survived, because we know that there were plenty of Mark 1 EMHs. We know that this is the EMH from Voyager, and that feels like such a gift to him and to fans as well. And I'm not worried about people not knowing who he is, because immediately in this episode, you know who he is. That character. Robert Picardo stepped back into that character seamlessly. He has done such a good job. Role that he hasn't played for 30 years 25 years to step back into it. I think he did a great job. I loved it.
He reminds me of Brent Spiner.
Very much, yeah.
In a way where it's you're playing such a unique character. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be missing some context about what he has experienced this particular version of the hologram, his programming, and how it's like the knowledge it's pulling from. I'm going to know him from Voyager, but like Murph was mentioned in there, and I don't remember. I don't remember the interaction with Murph. Like you're the doctor that did this and this and this and this. So you're right. It is a gift to give the actor all of that experience and let it all be real, and he doesn't have to like compartmentalize.
I need to backpedal a little bit. He has played the Doctor in Prodigy. So in season 2 of Prodigy, he makes a return. So a couple of years ago, he has recaptured playing the EMH. So
the voice actor as the voice actor.
As the voice actor, he returns as the EMH. So I guess he has had that as kind of dipping his toes back into Star Trek, but still physically doing it. It's so much different from being behind a microphone.
And it's different from doing it in the mirror in the bathroom when you're brushing your teeth. Because if I ever played a famous character like that, you can bet that I would be doing it all the time in my life.
Yeah, just to entertain myself. Yeah. But he did this was one of my verbal callbacks. He asks for a tricorder, and then he's handed the wrong type of tricorder. He says, medical tricorder. This happens in episode 1 of Voyager. He asks for a tricorder, and then says medical tricorder, because he's handed an engineering tricorder. It's like, this is of no use to me. So just a nice little nod. But he was a joy for me, and used sparingly. Like he was
the right amount of present.
Right amount, exactly.
He appears at a moment when he can sense that all of the students have like a cortisol spike or something. I
love that. They're all getting stressy when the Stephen King bullying situation happens.
And so that's why he appears.
Yeah.
And it just really makes you appreciate this kind of a character going, hey, there's no limitations in a starship.
Especially when there are holograms
If the Doctor
everywhere.
is a hologram and can be anywhere at any time and can be tied in and monitoring systems, it makes sense that he would appear here at this moment and be instantly able to interact with the students. And so that's fun for him. That they also give him a hobby because they're recognizing the holograms as like an actual people now. And we have a cadet representing that angle.
A colony of photonics. Yeah.
And so he's over there going, hey, join, the opera club. And it's just really, really fun. And he's also skirting the idea of being a mentor. So I
love that so much. I hope we dive into that more, because how much sense does that make? After 800 years, how done are you with making friends and watching them die?
I mean, it depends on your programming.
If you're programming like the Doctor, I think I think he may be like at a point where he cannot do it anymore.
He needs to have a chat, like a heart-to-heart with Captain Kitty, because there are only a certain amount of people that can really experience that longevity. And so it would be a disservice if they don't have them paired up in that kind of a moment.
I would hope so.
I would hope that they would kind of play into that at some point.
Yeah, I hope we don't do too many member berries with him, but I do hope they explore a bit of why he doesn't want to be a mentor. And I'm pretty sure it's because everyone I know and love keeps dying on me century after century. I don't want to mentor people.
It's a really good thing to point out, too, is that at this point in the show, and we haven't watched episode 2 yet, which we're going to do here in just a little bit, but like, we don't know how they're going to lean into the characters. Which ones are they really wanting for us to be able to explore? Is the Doctor going to be that kind of like pop in and out mentor, adverse like presence that saves the day? Because he saves the day. He's present in really critical moments of this episode. But specifically about a medical emergency, like when he's summoned to kind of help the kid that's out in space, for example. Like, so is he going to be that kind of a person that just kind of peppered in, or are we going to be able to explore that? Because of course, like longevity Star Trek fans are going to look at those characters and be really excited to see them again, have an opportunity to interact with them again, kind of like how all of us felt when we watched Picard and got to see the old school TNG crew together and kind of like, oh, here's another moment. What a gift we have.
And who from this series is going to last as well? Who's going to stand the test of time and keep returning and maybe be in future seasons of whatever happens next?
Maybe the show wants us to lean more into the future of Star Trek and, spend more of our time with the cadets. So we'll see what they want to do. But it is really fun to have. They seem to have presented it quite a lot in this episode, that we have a new holodeck program, and what is it? What kind of a?
Oh, photonics.
A photonic.
Yeah.
We have a new photonic to consider, and so I feel like it's going to be more of a dominant storyline, but we'll find out.
I think so. I mean, and she's a hologram at the start of her life. he's a hologram 800 years into existing.
And I also want to say, as we near the moment when we meet the Photonic, that I'm calling her Happy because I don't remember her name, and I just
Sam.
called her Happy.
Her name was Sam. It stood for something very witty, but I didn't quite get the whole gist of what her acronym was. But yeah, she is adorable. She's one of the first cadets that we meet outside of Caleb and Jaden. And she's trying to say hello to everybody, and she's being rejected. And this was one of your predictions. She's the awkward one.
There's always
We knew there was going to be an awkward one, but she is quickly greeted and embraced by Genesis, who is a species I don't recognize.
Yeah, we can get, definitely. We learned that she is an ambassador's, I think, daughter, something like that.
She's an admiral's daughter. Yeah, I don't know that she's going to be Admiral Vance's daughter, but she is, some higher-up's daughter, so she's used to being, she's a Starfleet brat, essentially.
Here's what you need to know. Sam Happy is Boimler, and Genesis is Mariner.
Yeah, I get that impression. Yeah, very, very much. Yeah, she's definitely got a Mariner vibe, like, especially since they imply that she knows more than she should know. Like, she's maybe been through this training before, so maybe she's a cadet. Well, she can't be a dropout because this is the first class of cadets, but she's definitely been in the system for a long time.
Also, before we get super into all of the cadets connecting, there was a really great moment. We get to the bridge the first time and we're introduced to the bridge crew, which was great. And it was simple and it was kind of like, it didn't,
oh my gosh, yes.
It didn't have a lot of bravado. It didn't need a lot of bravado. And I love that it knew that. What we really are here to see is like getting into kind of the next sequence. But basically, she goes onto the bridge, and we get to see kind of what it looks like. And we learn that there's an academic liaison on the bridge named Rourke, whose job it is to identify teaching moments so that if the bridge crew is just too much in their bridge crewness, that they're like, oh, this is actually a good opportunity.
Don't forget, this is a teaching hospital.
Yes, exactly like that.
Love that. And the speech was great. The speech that Nala gives to the crew, exactly what it needs to be. It was really inspiring. I think it was extremely well written. And I love her getting cat comfortable in her chair as well.
Oh, yes. The humor beat where it's like, okay, you're sitting in the chair the first time and now you need to adjust it to where...
Which you would.
And she would do that, yeah. And it also showed the really cool chair where it's a very broad section of the armrest that's sort of like a glittering silver color.
Bio-interface kind of thing.
But yeah, when she put her hands on it, it activated and that made me really happy because it just looked really, really cool.
Well, the ship has definitely had a Gemini upgrade because the computer was very conversational and very... you're very welcome, Captain. So yeah, very softly spoken.
It's also when we learn that the ship is named after the goddess of wisdom.
Yep, and we get the jump to warp as well. The Athena just looking a little... There's no need. I bet we won't have this very often. But the unnecessary countdown to warp. But it worked for me. I love it. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I love it.
I must say, also, before we get back to the cadets, if I was to sit in the captain's chair, that is how I would sit in a captain's chair.
Of course, especially if it's that wide.
Like, it is a couch. It is essentially, at that point, a love seat.
Yes. It is very nearly a love seat.
And that is how, and I love that later on, she's like crouched in there reading a book.
And
she's just unabashedly herself. I'm really enjoying her character.
Yeah, just treating it as her comfy space. And I love that Nuss tries to get... She knows that he's going to go to the captain's chair and try and sit in it.
And she just slides in it.
And she slides in sideways. It's so good. Like, no, this is my chair.
Yeah.
So
her
cheeky.
Interaction with the chair was really, really fun for the whole episode.
And the captain's chair is a character in Star Trek. It really, really is.
Okay, so then, yes, now we're meeting all of the...
Sam and Genesis have met, and we have this immediate bully situation.
And they can't avoid it. The storytellers can't avoid it,
You gotta have some assholes. But yeah, Caleb comes to the rescue of Jaden because he's a bird watcher and he's had his little binoculars stolen from him by the bully, who has to be English, of course. Give the Klingon back his bird watching goggles.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to, is the word ingratiate these characters to each other. And you have Genesis speaking a language that the photon torpedo, Fortnite.
The photonic. Happy.
God, yeah, Happy. And so there's like a connection there, and Happy's like, are we friends now? And then, Genesis puts her hand out, and then Happy like doesn't even know how to do that. So you have this, they're sort of like learning how to be together.
Too hard to program her to know how to shake hands, clearly. But English was fine.
She's been with photons too long, photonics too long, where they don't, I can't wait to see an episode of just the photonic episode. Go to this planet. I want to see
let's
this.
Go.
Well, you know what? I want to see all of these people's places. They're really interesting to me. I've seen Caleb's. His is really sad. Let's go look at the photonics.
Saw his prison cell.
Yeah. It worked for me because they have to find a way to come together. It does show that Caleb has an ability to be, it's almost like Caleb wanted to show his dominance to the most dominant fearlessly. And because we've seen him, we're like, yeah, he's going to kick your ass. Like, we don't even know who you are, new guy.
Don't even try it.
Yeah.
Your accent betrays how not ready for this fight you are.
But then it's fun because the show then flexes that he is as cool as he says he is later in the episode, and they begin to kind of bind them together. I don't mind it. I don't mind that Jaden, the Klingon, is like, I'm a bird watcher, which is another kind of humor beat, sort of something you're not kind of expecting.
My mother taught me to see the beauty in the world.
And then Caleb just goes, nice, and then walks away. And there's just this kind of fun thing. And hearing him speak Klingon, warrior does not let a friend face danger alone, was really cool.
Yeah.
And then it kind of is what it is. It backs out of that scene and it shows that the floor is super fucking shiny and they have wavy lights going on the ceilings. It's fun to look at, but I'm just like, man,
so much.
I have nothing in my life that looks anything like that.
I don't want to live on this ship. This is my problem. I want to live on the Enterprise D. I don't want to live on this shiny bit of glass.
Right. Hopefully their rooms they get to kind of like make more comfortable.
It's definitely implied that they do
that. But anyway, we're transition. This is where the Doctor kind of breaks up the fight and says, y'all need to go pick your electives. And that is something that, if you've gone to college, if you've gone to any kind of a situation like this, like you have to, they're at school. It just reminds you, we're not starting off on a fun ship adventure. Us
into you've got a semester of learning to do. The transition itself to that picking of electives and picking of the clubs, beautiful warp bubble transition. Just the distortion of space and then going into the Athena.
The exterior shot of how they're in the warp bubble.
This is like, this is why I love living in 2026. I'm just like, it's so fucking pretty. Let's go.
Yeah. So it's good. Really cool.
But yeah, everyone's picking their different groups. And we've talked about this a little bit. This is where Sam and the Doctor really interact. And Sam gets a bit of hero worship. The Doctor is bummed out that nobody is joining his opera club. I think somebody would want to be around the Doctor because I certainly would, even though I don't sing opera. But more
importantly, we see an exocomp.
That you spotted. It was so great.
This was so
just
funny.
Flying in the background.
Because I saw it drop down in. I heard the noise and I was like, ooh. And I saw it drop down and I was like, oh. And then it took me a split second to remember the words exocomp. And then I was pointing at the screen going, do you see? And
Peanut hamper.
We ended up, I said peanut hamper because I couldn't remember exocomp. And
I was like, wait, what?
And I think we rewound it 3 times just to watch it because it was so funny.
Like, it's such a beautiful little unassuming callback. For anyone that doesn't know, the exocomps if you don't know, you probably won't even remember this flying robot appearing on screen, but they appear in an episode of TNG.
They're a fun little
They are given sentience, and it was just a really fun, recognizable creature to see floating past in the background. Then we get a bit of exposition, callback, member berry dump of Prodigy. You'll be forgiven for not knowing who any of those characters are because Prodigy was just on Netflix. I'm not even convinced that Paramount has Prodigy available yet. I can't remember if it's actually on Paramount or not, but animated show which ties heavily into Voyager. But not really too much mentioned in there that was distracting. It just definitely struck a nerve with the Doctor.
Yeah. This is where, at this point in time, you had kind of predicted that there would be at least 5 sort of like non-direct references.
And smashed it. It's already gone.
Just in that conversation alone, there's enough kind of in there. But from the scene, you kind of get the same vibe that's really interesting. He's been around 500 years. She's programmed to be 17. And there's just this sort of important identifying moment when they're saying that the 17-year-old photonic is restricted within these guidelines to experience what it means to interact with a human, like a warm-blooded people or solid people.
And the idea is that she's going to research all of that and bring it back to her people.
Right, and bring it back home. So she's on this sort of like fact-finding mission, and is very enthusiastically driven and programmed to be so. And then against the juxtaposition of the 500-year-old one. And I thought they did a really good job, of doing that. He's like, I really think that you should, do this club because it's going to be a lot of fun. But
I will not be mentoring you.
The actor who's playing Happy is really fun to watch because the exuberance of not just a 17-year-old, but like a genuine, just created childlike photonic entity that's transitioning and sort of trying to navigate all of these various quote unquote feelings and experiences, and meeting someone like the Doctor would have been exactly what we just witnessed, which is her fangirling all over. And then we are also fangirling as the people watching at home. And as he kind of retreats away from the scene, you can see the acting chops of this person who's kind of recognizing that everything is more complicated than the calculations could have prepared her for. But when she reengages, both in the need to make light and in the need for doing surgery later on, that enthusiasm comes back, that sort of like childlike wonder enthusiasm comes back.
I'm useful.
And that's that Data-esque quality that I loved from TNG, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Well, it's always fun to see like Data in his vulnerable moments, but then when disaster hits,
he is a clutch.
He can do the programming, and he will just
he
will solve all of the problems, and there's so much comfort in that.
Then we transition to this interesting moment where the hacker in Caleb can't help himself, and he decides that, hey, I'm around all of this important tech. Let me just go ahead and send a message. Let me tell you why this scene is amazing. There is such an important part of storytelling and you'll see this with choreography, you'll see this with like car chases or action sequences where it's so important to give visually an understanding of what is going on. Now, we can extrapolate with our brilliant brains that he is sending a message to mama. That's not going to be too complicated. But it's so cool because on the screen, it shows these different like symbols that equal the words that he was repeating in the secret code language at the beginning of the episode. And when he says send a message, they overlay over each other to combine a special subspace frequency or whatever. And he's able to send a message on this very specific way. I love that.
Oh,
like
that's
it is so juicy because there's these like ways that this world gets to be real. And while the shiny floor is incredibly distracting, the visual aspect of showing us how an encoded message can be sent in these really unique ways across just a computer system that he can hack into, it's completely believable. And it makes me think like, oh, cool. So like in this world, his mom could be at another console out there somewhere and receive a very specific message that's just meant for the two of them, like sending something in the mail. Like
it's an answering machine system.
Yeah, it's going to go from mine.
A specific dial code.
Right. And I think like that kind of brings it more into something that like makes it personal, because sometimes when I'm watching Star Trek, it's like, it's so futuristic and nobody cares about the same things that we care about today.
Yeah,
like there's no money, there's no diseases that can't be cured. And so like when you send a message, it's probably scanned by 1,000 AI programs, and just, it's just it's kind of like, it doesn't feel very personal, but just that personal message was really cool. And it looked really neat as well. Just like how each moon had its own visual, and when they combined, it created that very distinct, like, listen, we're all people. We just like, we want to be remembered. That's why people carve their initials into a tree. Like, we just want something to be ours and special. And so to do that little tiny little moment, I don't know, it just really hit me deep.
I loved that. I didn't think too much about it. I was like, yep, that's it puts the pieces together very succinctly about the code that we have at the beginning of the episode and then what that means. Like, it's very, without being too expositional, it's very kind. So show don't tell, and that is the definition of show don't tell. So it's very satisfying.
Yeah,
I love that it
didn't draw
that
attention to itself, but we did learn a couple heartbreaking things. One, his mom has potentially had an ability to send him a message and hasn't yet. So why?
Well, my immediate note there is clearly these messages are getting intercepted. There's no way this is a party line. There's definitely somebody getting his messages that isn't his mother,
or she's for some reason been told if she does contact him, he'll be in danger. Yeah. Who knows? There's something going on with the messages there, that being the only real mystery I think that this episode kind of set up from a seasonal, kind of view. And then we also learn later on that because he is sending a message to his mom, he has put the entire ship at risk, which is such an interesting thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, just so happens in this massive space neighborhood, the bad guy was able to pick it up. Yes, it's super convenient, but how else do you make space shows and
you got to make stuff happen? Like, space is so big, you have to make stuff happen. And I kind of like this because the graviton shear that they detect is Nusbraka's ship. So he has detected the transmission, put himself on Athena's path, knowing that they will most likely detect this. So
and it's hopefully not that stop he was out of
necessarily,
curiosity.
He wasn't necessarily in the neighborhood, but he does get the transmission and then sets a trap that he's pretty sure, them being Starfleet, they won't be able to resist interacting with it and discovering it. So I don't even think that it's that convenient. I think there is some logic and strategy to it that I really like. They didn't just bump into him in the Badlands. He set the trap in the Badlands. But before go on.
The other thing this particular scene does is it sets up that Genesis, who discovers Caleb sending this message.
I love her so much.
She's insanely sarcastic.
Yes. I want a slave. I want my food chewed and spat into my mouth.
Yeah. And it's so funny because the writing, like, it goes from, oh, she's serious, and oh, there's no way she's serious.
Gradually, yeah.
Very Mariner, but more controlled. And like Mariner, by the way, if you don't know who we're talking about, is from Lower Decks, which is such a fun way to get into Star Trek. If you've never done it before, it's very Rick and Morty, Simpsons kind of. It's a hard to kind of describe, but it is canon to Star Trek.
Yep.
But they get to do things that you'll never, ever, ever see in a show like this because it's animated. So they get to do really fun, gross, silly stuff. Like in the first episode, one of the characters gets sucked on by a big...
Yeah, she stabs her crewmate in the leg with a batleth in the cold open.
Because she knows that they can go to sickbay and get it fixed. And so it kind of pushes all of these fun Star Trek things to the limit in a way that you just wouldn't see in normal, quote unquote, Star Trek or whatever. But anyways, Genesis is giving Mariner vibes because Mariner is somebody who knows a lot of information, is super, super sarcastic, and is having a good time playing with her food, being the dumber people than her. And that is...
all Mariner.
Genesis is giving that same kind of energy. And she kind of
person in the room.
Yeah, she knows that's against the... She's going to position herself and say, hey, I know what you did is wrong, and I'll think about it, but I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
She puts herself in a power position, and she can kind of back it up. There's a little bit of a will they, won't they, like...
Oh, immediately there's sexual... This is the sexy meet cute. Yeah.
Yeah, but then there's another one later on with her and another character.
Oh,
So she's kind of like the swing character.
Yeah,
and if she doesn't go out with a completely different person, I'm going to be annoyed.
With Sam.
But yeah.
There was another thing I loved in this scene, and I'm pretty sure it was deliberate. First of all, the makeup of the room with like the different, almost like privacy screens that were in there. Yes, because this is the
instructor's rooms.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure what it was, but it was beautifully set up. But when they're talking, it shifts when we get to see Genesis, but we don't see Caleb. We see his shadow.
Yeah.
And just his silhouette.
As she walks away.
Exposed. Like he has been exposed and is naked, and that was just a beautiful bit of imagery. But like still in the shadows. Yeah.
Well, that's
beautiful shot.
I know sometimes they're like, oh, you're reading into this a lot, but there is just so much like beautiful cinematography happening in this episode.
Every frame has to be deliberate.
It's really, really nice to watch. Just I don't know. I get the impression that the people creating this particular episode genuinely cared.
Yeah. Well, Alex Kurtzman directed it. He is a huge, long-time shepherd of Star Trek since basically 2019. He has been very much the puppet master behind this era of Star Trek. So he took the reins on this one. And it really shows. Like it is. I wish he was directing all of the episodes, but it shows that this one is this. That's one of the reasons this is really next level as well. So we transition to the bridge. They're detecting an anomaly. They decide this will be a teaching moment, and they enter the Badlands, which is from Voyager. The Badlands is what Voyager investigates before they get sent to the Delta Quadrant. So another verbal callback. Like, no, that's my list done. I think we're at 10 now. Tachyons are detected. I always get excited by tachyons because tachyons tend to mean time travel, but we haven't had any mention of that yet. It was just some kind of disturbance that ends up being a Venari Ral brawler. And I love when you come up with a good villain name and Venari Ral just comes off of the tongue so beautifully. They are immediately in some shit, and here's the space battle you did not expect.
I don't know why I didn't expect it, but it was great because when your expectations are a bit subverted on a first episode, you're kind of along for a ride. Because
I was ready for the space battle. I knew there was one coming at some point. And we get to see this brawler come together in its separate modular parts and then form into one ship, which is very much a signature of the ships from this period of time. They do lots of modular things. And the programmable matter, you had a nice reaction to this when the torpedoes hit the Athena, but they don't just impact, they impact and they spread. And the programmable matter spreads across the Athena and encapsulates.
Yeah, it sounds like it was very mechanical and nanobite-esque.
Kind of Borg.
And I was like, Borg? And it's in my notes too, but no, it is not Borg. It's just some kind of technology that essentially merges with the ship in some way and kind of like can override it and make it its own. I don't know. This is the most murky part for me is, man, listen, when things go to red alert, they start talking fast. We've got a whole...
Some things at 10%, some things at 15%.
Everybody's giving information to Captain Kitty, who is like, okay, we're doing this. And the camera is like moving around, showing the different people giving their information, which is important. She's getting feedback from everybody, kind of taking like what the options are. When shit starts to get worse, she sends a message to Starfleet. So it was really fun to watch how, this is probably what it would look like. Everybody is scrambling to figure out what to do. And we've seen this so many times in Star Trek.
So many times.
So it felt very comfortable, but I definitely can brain check out a bit in these because I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but I know that
shit's bad.
Whenever we go and they're like, get the kids to safety, and we zoom over to the shot of what was once a really fun atrium and it is now looking like a nightmare. And you
breathing is your friend.
Breathing is your friend. Everybody gets like, I love it because it's like that's the kind of humor I can. You know what? I know what's going on there, but I'm thinking it's the Borg. I'm thinking, Oh,
you're trying to tie it into something
like,
that you
what
know.
What is happening here? But we're hearing things like manual override, helm is draining power, and then we're watching this beautiful ship be like fucked up, and I was really sad about that.
Yeah, it hurts me a little bit. Like this is something that Strange New Worlds and Discovery does a bit too much. I think it actually started with Voyager. Like they kind of revel in destroying the ship and the ship taking lots of damage. But for me, it loses a lot of impact when you do that every episode or every other episode, because I want these hits to mean something and to feel bad. But when they're repaired so quickly, it's like, okay, that wasn't so bad. I feel like when I see a hole being punched in the ship, I want it to feel like a submarine having a hole punched in it. Like I want that to really mean something. So seeing the Athena and me, I haven't known the Athena long enough to really...
I cared.
For that mean
I was
much
really
to
upset.
Me. Yeah, I was superficial. I was like, okay, but I know they're going to fix it in a minute.
Yeah, they're going to fix it. I guess I wasn't expecting that this badass ship would immediately be immobilized. It kind of was like, oh, yeah, we're not very strong compared to whatever's going on here. And I don't know what that other ship, me neither. Venari or whatever ship is doing, and when they kind of like all those pieces come together to form a greater enemy, and then they like fire on them, and then we find out that no one dies, and I'm just like,
well, that's the other wild thing.
Wow, okay, so not only is there not a lot of actual like long-term damage that's going to put the ship, upside down in space or something.
There's no casualties.
Nobody's even dead. Now listen, I'm okay with cadets not dying. I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but when you see that shot of the deck plates exploding and blasting cadets
around,
you deliberately see what is absolutely death blows, and then the doctor's like injuries but no casualties. I'm like, I guess that scene didn't mean anything. It's hard. I want the impact of the damage to be reflected in the casualties and the repair time, which sounds so nerdy, but it means something when there are consequences. And so often with these battles, there are little to no consequences. Like they don't even limp home. They just set a course for San Francisco and all is well.
Yeah.
Now, some of that is this programmable matter thing. So one of the key cornerstones of technology in the 3100s is programmable matter. So repairs are done quicker. The Discovery gets a refit very quickly because of that. Rooms can be recalibrated. Consoles can be changed and reformatted. So this programmable matter thing is the cornerstone of how ships are built now. So it's really, really integral to the technology of this time. So you'll hear programmable matter come up a lot.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's also fucking magic. It's beyond anything we can comprehend right now.
I guess it's like talking to someone like, I remember when we went on boats. We're built out of wood. And like we're like wanting the wood to crack and light on fire, and then you have to go chop down a tree to make another boat. And this is so far off of my normal radar that it's kind of like it's an auto repairing ship or whatever.
Well, it's like talking to somebody with like who's communicating with like a telegraph or a telephone, and then trying to explain the internet to them.
Exactly.
Like that's the sort of it's a leap even beyond that.
But we do have to have some damage, and we do have to have some injuries because we need to get to the point where we're seeing the damage. Now, one thing that I like about what this show is doing is it has a lot of robots. There's a lot of there's a lot of assistance going on. You've got
they're called dots.
The dots are doing repairs, maybe
adorable, by the way.
And I think that might be part of, besides just automatically having force fields go up if there's an opening to space. Like there's a lot of ways that they're going to be instantly protected from harm in ways like we can't even imagine, because we're not being shown how they would all survive something like this, for example. But then we get to see the hallway where there is some damage happening, and also the robots are doing their thing and putting fires out. I just really like it. I like those little.
Yeah, that's a nice touch.
I like that. We should see more of that. We should hear about how there's a whole bunch of holographic help happening, and then this episode goes further and says, oh, that system's also going down. So now they're like, okay, we're sending people, and that's just going to take time.
Oh yeah, the Doctor does mention the holographic emitters are down across the ship.
So he's not able to be like in a lot of places at once or something.
Maybe he's not able to be everywhere.
So there's like a limited factor.
Maybe he is doubling himself. That would be interesting.
It would make sense as to how everyone's surviving. If someone appears, I see you're having a medical emergency, and they're just like everybody in the neck.
Well, guess what? They've all got these personal transporters. So as soon as your life readings dip, you should be immediately transported to sickbay.
Yeah.
But I guess they did say the transporters were down as well.
Troubled,
but why have the fucking transporters if they're always down? It should be a protected fucking system, independent of everything else. Never mind. Let's move on. I'm okay.
But this is when the team starts to take over and save the day. So let's kind of quickly get through this. Basically, we have our crew that is trying to help these screaming Klingon Bluey.
Jem'Hadar Klingon.
Klingajar.
Yeah, Thok.
Klingajar?
Damn it, what's her name?
Jem'Hadar. Yeah, Klingajar. I think I'm going to go with Klingajar. So she's in bad shape. She has been pierced. The transporters are offline. The closest place to go is a little bit away, so she gets up and starts screaming, and she's got a...
Thok. Sorry, her name is Thok.
We need a flashlight at some point in time, and then Happy touches a wall, and it lights up, and everybody... It was so cute, because she's like, hi, and then Caleb's like, hi, and that was such a great part, because it kind of shows maybe... And this is something that Captain Kitty told to Caleb, is like, when he was little, like when he was little and being taken away from his mother, that scene way back at the beginning of this episode, she's like, you'll be around other kids. You're not going to be alone. And this is sort of the real moment for him when he isn't alone and he is around other quote unquote kids. And just to see him kind of go, hi, and be able to not be the serious, angry Caleb.
I think it's really smart to give Caleb more depth than jaded character doesn't want to trust anybody, Dr. House kind of get away from me thing. Like he has a softness that we see each time. And even when Genesis says, I liked how you defended your friend, he says he's not my, and stops himself. Immediately. Like that's not something that happens in episode 10. Right now he's saying it's okay. I can have a friend. Like I love that we're not sitting in that too much.
Or maybe it's not about him accepting friendship. It's that he's accepting he doesn't have to explain himself. It's not going to, we don't know exactly, but I like that he stopped it too, because it shows an awareness of them, whether he's doing it for for them, for him, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So anyway.
We do have then Nusbraka returning to the ship and eating up the entire bridge in the process with his little metal finger claw thing that's going on and just dancing around the bridge. And he has a score to settle, of course, with Nala.
Here's what I like about this. This scene doesn't work in TNG, doesn't work in anything that I have seen so far, because it's not a on-screen conversation.
Oh, interesting.
That is not a Zoom call. Yeah. This is...
He's physically on the bridge.
I thought it was a holograph emitter.
I mean, physically as in a hologram. Like he's still walking around the bridge. But yes, it was a projection.
Yeah, so he's back on his place, walking around in his space, looking at her space, and
not bumping into things.
Yeah, and it just makes it more foreboding. It makes it more violated.
Yeah,
especially more when he goes to the captain's chair.
Kind of boops her on the nose.
And it's fun to see the two of them back and forth. It's fun to see Captain Kitty try to outsmart him in real time.
I cut him off as well. Blow it up your ass.
Yeah, there's a casual sort ofness to you're not going to want to damage the warp.
Yeah.
So you need to there's a negotiation happening. They're obviously in a position where they have to have this negotiation, and she's already shown a bit of her ability to do some diplomacy with the kids when it was coming to the ice cream, and it was sort of mentioned by the Admiral when he came. Is that right? The Admiral? To get her back on Bayshore?
Yeah, Admiral Vance.
So we know that she's good at diplomacy and talking, but here we get to see it in this unique way where she's going kind of witty toe-to-toe. Yeah, it definitely worked for me.
Matching his energy for sure.
Matching his energy in a very different way. She didn't try to get louder than him. She tried to agree with him and take it down a corridor of thought as long as she can to buy them time, and it works.
I love it. She's such a confident captain.
It's believable to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Again, some excellent writing. Time folds in on itself like an origami chicken. I just think all of his dialogue was absolutely incredible. I love to think that he had a hand in writing some of it as well, but his delivery is great. And yeah, it then puts the responsibility on the cadets to come and save the day, because Caleb has a plan. He recognizes the sound of the programmable matter and has a bit of a back and forth with the captain. I just need some time to figure it out, and I've got a solution for us.
Oh, I don't know if it was 10 minutes. That was something else.
No, I think it was. That's how he needed 10 minutes to program the code together.
Something.
Yeah. But that leads to him trying to scan the frequencies, and a little bit of not accepting help from anybody as well, because Sam is saying how she can do this quicker because she's a hologram. She can scan everything. He's resistant, and Genesis has to be the one that says, no, she's better and faster. Let her do it.
Yeah, this is an interesting part of any kind of episode when there's so much action going on, and we're kind of cutting between what's happening on the bridge, what's happening in the engineering, what's happening in this room where they've brought in the Klingajar to save her life.
Yes.
While also hacking and discovering that they need to be having something from the exterior. So there's just so much going on, and we're just kind of cutting back and forth. So it gets
really, really busy.
This conversation, this part, we're definitely just going to do the amalgamation approach, where we're just going to talk about it.
Yeah, I think so. And the most interesting thing it leads to for me, there's all the techno jargon about getting the code, reprogram the programmable matter to isolate it and get rid of it. Great. The most interesting thing for me is the bully from earlier then says, okay, if you need a sample of the matter, I'm the only one that can go outside without a spacesuit because he's a Keonian bitch.
Yeah, it's a really fun way to kind of go, we didn't want to root for this guy, but now we're absolutely rooting for this guy.
It's an interesting thing to do that turnabout in one episode. And
it's
even
great.
When Caleb is doing the communication with him, he's like arsehole 1 to arsehole 2.
Yeah.
I kind of love that mutual respect as well.
Yeah.
I think that kind of bucked the trend for me of the cliche bully, but no idea what a Keonian is.
So that's new.
Completely new.
So does that
unless
work
I've
for
missed
you?
it. Well, I don't know yet, because he's a shapeshifter. So what is his true form? Was that his true form, or was that just a form that he can take to go outside? I don't know if that's what Keonians look like, or that was just yes, I can transform into something that will allow me to tolerate being outside.
Or tolerate being with humans.
Yeah, that too. Which is why he takes on a human skin to be around the humans. So he's blending in, for all of his bravado, he's not being himself. He is turning into a human to fit in. It's super interesting.
I love too, he looks like he has just such a baby face when he transforms, and he's got this kind of childlike grin on. And it just changes. He doesn't look like this. He's he's getting himself pumped up to go to space. He just is kind of hi, I hope you like my skin now.
I hope you like what I look like.
It reminds me, of the youth. And then there's the silly lines you got to turn around so you don't instantly fall in love with me. But that's, I can kind of...
That's hiding a vulnerability. He doesn't want to be seen while he's transforming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that.
And it did look very like, we've seen transformations like this before, I feel. And I'm going to try to remember what it is, but I feel like we've seen sort of almost like a metallic ching, 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 ching. It
reminded me of Mystique from X-Men.
Yeah, that's it.
Like scales more than a goopy thing.
That's not in Star Trek world at all.
No, definitely wasn't. It was deliberately not Odo. It didn't look like how the changelings changed their form. It looked very, very much more like scales. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really interesting.
Super interesting.
But so we've got that going on. I guess let's just talk about that, how that whole scene plays off. So he actually walks out and has about estimated 8 minutes to walk on the exterior of the ship without basically any protection and go and scan something from the outside so that they can learn about this component and they can help hack into their system. So it's basically like looking for an IP address.
Basically, I don't know why you couldn't just send a dot to do that. Like their job is to work on the outside of the ship.
Maybe it's too conversational because you have to reprogram it.
All they had to do is send the code. Like I don't know. There was something specific about him being able to do it.
Well, we also just needed something interesting to happen, and it does. I thought it looked kind of cool. I like the prosthetic kind of look with like the dark eyes, and then when he blinks, it goes like lizard.
Yeah.
But then he has a very like human smile on the bottom.
Still very relatable and familiar.
Yep. And then I thought it looked really neat from the outside. The tension of as he begins to slowly freeze and whether he's going to make it or not, I think was also, an interesting thing.
I could have believed it either way. I would have been really disappointed if he died because
it would have been pretty shocking.
He's an interesting alien.
Yeah.
He really
I would have been pretty shocked by that. The rescue mission, because Genesis has to be the one that's going to go and grab him from space with a tractor beam. Has to get clearance, help from the doctor, from that, all that stuff. I really kind of enjoyed.
I love the doctor reappearing and just, please state the nature of the medical emergency. He said it. He said the thing.
He did.
He said the thing.
And she says, I need an access code. He's like, that's not
a medical emergency.
She's like, there's somebody on space. Why didn't you say so?
Why didn't you already know if you were summoned because of the emergency? But no, I love again, it's that data thing. Like, he's like, I got you. Like, the confidence that he can get into things and use his access code. I
like that. I also really liked too that by letting this character who was such a, kind of a dominant asshole, become very vulnerable and put himself on the line. We really can kind of appreciate that character going forward. I love that Genesis doesn't want to give up on letting someone die. There was a little hint at there being a previous request for him to go out with her that we didn't see on screen. So they're using the dialogue to indicate that like he had tried to maybe like go out with her or something.
I think that might have been referring to the flirting and like you might fall in love with me thing that happened. I think it was kind of nodding back to that, I think.
Either way, you just get the impression that she's just fine to put up with him because he's not really like a bother to her, which feels totally normal for someone like Genesis who's probably not bothered by a lot. And that all is very intensely happening while obviously the bridge stuff is going on, but specifically with the cadets, we've got two other things going on. Caleb is doing his hacking stuff, and when Happy finishes like her part of it, she just walks away and goes over and begins to immediately shift from doing one thing to becoming like the doctor assistant.
Yeah, the nurse basically for the cadet master who has been crushed by a deck plate and had some kind of metal bit of shrapnel impale her in her stomach, which happens to be where the Jem'Hadar keep their heart.
Apparently so. And we get to have like the cool moment when Happy sort of scans over the top of it. We sort of see X-ray into the body.
Yes.
And we're kind of, we're told to believe that the pacifist Jaden Klingon who likes molecular biology is now also able to perform intricate surgeries.
So I guess there is a base level of medical training he's had, and now he's going into the academy. But yeah, fine. Okay. He did some things with the flashy light, and I didn't feel much investment in that at all. What I did like was this was about her re-emphasizing her like Jem'Hadar roots as well. And I loved her line, I start dead, I go into battle to reclaim my life. Because that is some leftover programming that the Jem'Hadar was given. Like, their life were not their own. Their life belonged to the founders, and victory is life, battle is life. And I just love that line. Like,
I thought it sounded very Klingon.
It is, but that's much more coded towards the Jem'Hadar. Whereas the Klingons are happy to die in glorious battle, and that's an end for their life. The Jem'Hadar somehow take that one step closer, one step further down the path and say, I'm not even living right now. The only way I earn my life is through battle and by proving that I have fought to live. So it's just that philosophy. I don't know. That one line to me said so much about how much of that Jem'Hadar programming has lasted 8 centuries. And I just wonder how much insight we're going to get into that, because I would imagine some of it had disappeared, but it's clearly still there.
I wasn't thinking about that at all. I was thinking about how it was more Klingon to me, and it makes sense that they're both going to be in alignment, or it's a mixture of both. But she definitely is the singing element of this scene where she's basically saying, I'm going to die on this if you don't get your act together. And she kind of kicks off the cadets. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. And then it starts to fall apart a bit as other emergencies take away their minds. So they all start off with a controlled and centralized vision of saving her life. This is the mission. And then it turns into, okay, I'm going to go walk on the ship. I'm going to be hacking the ship. I'm going to be doing surgery.
I'm going to be hacking your heart. Yeah.
So it kind of shifts around. But yeah, I mean, whatever, he ends up, saving her. I'm glad that they didn't kill her. There was always a chance in my mind that it's like this one character just lives this one moment to bring everyone together and give them confidence. But I really like this character a bunch.
No, I love her so much. And I saw some pictures of her, so I knew she existed, but I was worried that she was going to do the same thing as Jaden, which was be this Klingon Jem'Hadar merger that actually neuters whatever a Jem'Hadar and Klingon is, and she just becomes human. And it's like, yeah, they're softer now, they're fine. She's the opposite end. She is militant Klingon, militant Jem'Hadar, but in Starfleet. Like, they haven't clipped her wings at all. They still have all of that character in her, just as much as they have the Tellarite inside of Nuss as well. She does have another incredible line with Sam. I require significantly less cheerfulness in my final moments.
Yes, and she's like, understood.
I hear you.
I hear you.
I love that. Great humor. I love that in my Star Trek.
Let's go to the bridge, because how is this working for you? A lot of times in a Star Trek episode, you will see, or really any TV, where there's like an unfolding mystery and they just don't want to give you all the information at once. So the way that all of this ends up kind of working out is that the code from what was scanned on the exterior is sent to Caleb in time. Caleb puts what it needs to be done into a chip, but he has to go to another location to make it work. The bridge has decided to do something called Ramcon 6, and I love that somebody on the bridge goes, that's the fun one.
That's the fun one.
So we're outside of the plan. And I sometimes love it when an episode does this, and I sometimes hate it. How did the bridge and how the bridge's critical role in knowing the full plan, not sharing it with us, the viewer, and not necessarily sharing it with the cadets either. They're doing their own damage control, watching these pirates jump into their warp engine and start to try to disassemble it.
Yeah, to rip out the dilithium crystals.
And they're kind of like, they're running this ruse we don't know about. So like, does it work for you how that reveals itself and like the plan comes together where Caleb has to trust Captain Kitty has given the instructions in the right order. We don't know what the plan is. We're watching it happen. Like, is that working for you in this episode?
It doesn't, and here's why. I'm fine with with me not being in on the plan. I'm fine with them not telling me and having a Kobayashi Maru thing going on. What annoys me in these moments is that keeping the audience ignorant is at the expense of the characters. So when Captain Nala says, you have to trust me, no, you don't. He doesn't have to trust you. You could tell him the plan. You could explain a little bit more. Okay, maybe you don't want to spell it out in case comms are being monitored, but it's not just trust. You can give him a little bit more. And really, the main reason he's not told and isn't in on the plan is so that we can have the dramatic warp core breach and then the reveal that training simulation complete. Like, that's the stinger. So I guess it works. It works completely fine. But that moment of trust feels a little bit hollow when it's something that could have been elaborated upon a little bit more. It's more like Nala saying, I need this as a moment where you prove you trust me. And the problem with that is everyone's life is at stake. Like, whether he trusts you or not right now in your relationship is besides the point. Like, you do what you send him a fucking verbal message. Like, do something that lets him know that, yes, you can run there, but wait. Like, we have a plan that's going to get them out of there.
Yeah, it's just much faster to say, trust me.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but it's also less like, I'm not going to trust you.
Yeah.
That's putting a lot of trust in him to trust her. So those moments don't always work for me, but it's fine. It's not, it by no means undoes the episode. What saves it for me is that it doesn't work on Bracker. He comes back. What I don't understand is why he doesn't come back with all of his people. Why does he return once
solo.
He knows that it was a fake warp core breach? Why does he return solo? Other than some Tellarite Klingon arrogance. Yeah. Which could be it.
Yeah, there's definitely, the longer that time has gone on, the whole like crescendo of this episode begins to, I can ask a lot of questions as to how did we get into this particular position? If the Captain Kitty has enough time to send the cadet, does she not also have the time to have a couple of security people just also
go with him
or go down the hallway and just be out of sight so that the pirates don't see them, but that they're there just in case? Or, I have a lot of questions.
Send in some dots with phasers.
Yeah. It's much better to watch that moment where Caleb gets to face off against the psychopath. Like, and I understand.
And it's worth it for that moment.
It's worth it. They get to have a great battle. It's fun to watch them battle. It's fun to watch the seasoned warrior fight the young man, and that they're pretty evenly matched. Caleb rips something out of the ceiling because he doesn't give a fuck about what the ship is. He's just trying to beat and get to the point where maybe he's in a position of authority to either find out where his mother is, or just a lot of raw emotion comes back in that moment when we're reminded about who Caleb is. Like, we kind of can easily put him into, cool, he's going to be fun in Starfleet. Look at this hacker kid that's got a lot of skills. But then in this moment, it's all doesn't matter anymore.
No, he's just kicking the snot out of him. And for a moment, I was like, why is Paul Giamatti standing up against this young lad? Like, how is he holding his own? And then he says that's what you get for like picking a fight with a Klingerite. Or what, I can't remember exactly what the line was, but I was like, oh, that makes so much sense why he is physically going toe to toe with him.
Yeah, he's
a beast.
Yeah, exactly. He's more than you think. And I have really enjoyed our conversation about this episode because we are learning a lot about the mixture, and we talked about this before we watched this episode, that this was going to be exciting to see how they mix these things together. But the bridge ends up, fooling the pirates just long enough to regain control of their systems.
Blow them up.
And it was really great. This fight between Caleb too, because when he smashes his face into the panel.
And it sends the code. Like, it deactivates the programmable matter, and he's just like, nice.
Yeah, like there was like a moment when the bad guy is like appreciative of Caleb's,
as if he was watching an action movie himself. He's like, oh, nice touch.
Yes, it was really, really fun. And again, like, genuine, there's
incredible.
There's the pacing of like the humor inside of this, and part of how he's playing the psychopathic character is this enjoyment of just being an absolute dick.
Yeah, even though
he enjoys it.
His nose being smashed into that button was his undoing, he still appreciates it because he's fucking insane.
Yeah.
He's absolutely off his rocker. There was a quick mention on the bridge. They had to explain why the Discovery couldn't come and rescue them, because the Discovery is having a retrofit, because the Discovery has a spore drive, so it could just immediately appear wherever it wants. So they had to explain why Disco couldn't come and save the day. Like, every other ship was out of range, but the Discovery is never out of range in theory.
Oh,
so just a little acknowledgement.
Yeah, because they really are back on the bridge. They're like, is anybody coming? And the answer is
did they get our message? Yeah, exactly.
But in the moment when he slams his face and says protocol complete, and he goes, nice. There is this kind of moment when they get control, and Captain Kitty says, blow that ship to hell.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
With pleasure, Captain.
Isn't that great?
Beautiful blue torpedoes. Like, I mean, questions about how quickly that ship was destroyed, but fine.
Oh my God, it was crazy.
Beautiful.
Here's the other fucking crazy part about that moment. Yes, it looks really, really fun. But as the green ship is destroyed, the one person that's supposed to be finding teachable moments says teachable moments and chuckles because fucking Starfleet is insane. These people are equally insane.
I mean, they're bloodthirsty. It's wild. Like, take no prisoners, just kill them all. I guess, I mean, clearly there's a history with the Venari Ral and how brutal they are, and there's a take no prisoners thing, and they're pirates.
This wasn't even a, like, shields up, let's negotiate. This was a kill them. Kill them now.
Murder them all right now. Don't cripple the ship, destroy them.
But don't worry, we're going to have a really fun moment where we get to San Francisco in a second, where we're going to forget all about it. But I'm still a bit like, wow, you just literally killed everybody on that ship.
And that's not very Starfleet. Like, you should cripple the ship, like, destroy its warp engines, destroy its weapons, disarm it, and then you take them as prisoners. You don't kill them all.
Captain Kitty should... So when we transition to where Caleb is like, buddy, you sent a transmission you weren't supposed to, and so now you're in trouble. It's like, you just fucking murdered a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, you can talk, can't you? The other hiccup I have in that moment is the fact that Nuss escapes in a fucking escape pod and they just let him go. Those things don't have warp... I mean, okay, maybe the ones in the 32nd century do have impulse engines or something, but surely you can catch... How far was he going to get? If you're still able to warp to Earth from the Badlands, you were able to catch the escape pod. Like, and there's not even a word given, not a token...
No.
Oh, we lost him. Like, maybe he activates a wormhole or something, but there's nothing. He's just gone.
And even if we pretend that Caleb was like, yeah, I'm going to let him go so I can find him myself later.
Something. Like, maybe he'll lead me to my mother, but not a word.
The bridge would still be like, hey, someone just launched
there's one of those missing. There was one little reference that I think is a reference that I want to mention. Nuss says to Caleb something along the lines of, I can still sense you have a bit of resentment towards the captain, but sadly not enough to stab her in her sleep. And I was just like, is that a reference to a TNG episode called Suddenly Human, where basically a human child has been taken as the ward of some alien person? Long story short, he ends up on the Enterprise, and it's kind of Picard's job to reintroduce him to being a human. And at some point, the kid has so much negative emotions and trauma, he literally stabs Picard in his sleep. And I'm like, there's such a mirror there between them. And I'm like, is that a really nerdy reference to Suddenly Human?
Let's say yes.
And I'm just going to say yes, because there were enough parallels where I'm like, I like that. I like that being a reference. But everyone is safe. Nobody dies. We are now continuing our route back to Earth and to San Francisco. And Ambassador, it's not often Star Trek brings a tear to my eye, but when they bring in Rufus Wainwright, they absolutely will. And I love Rufus Wainwright. I immediately recognized his voice. So he was singing the San Francisco song.
Oh, yeah, totally got that.
It's fine.
Wow.
You're not going to recognize him, but his voice melts me, Ambassador. And he also, he sung Old Tom Bombadil in Rings of Power Season 2 and did a beautiful rendition of that is in my musical rotation. And honestly, what a beautiful approach, tour of San Francisco, reintroduction to Earth. It's not often that Star Trek will do a contemporary song. Like, it usually tries to not do that and stay away from that. This one plucked at me. Like, this one got me right in the heart. It sounded beautiful. I was stunned by the visuals. Athena folding its wings under itself in like a little cuddling landing formation. The wings
were left in space.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Shed the wings and went just as this new ship.
Oh my God. Really cool. It's beautiful. But yeah, I loved that. How did you like the musical drive-by of San Francisco?
Oh, it was great. It is a bit jarring now that we're talking about like just letting the bad guy go. Maybe I'm not still over that just yet, but I'm going to let that go because we have to have a bad guy, I guess, and we have to have this lingering thing that we can carry through the season. So I'm just going to let that go. But I completely agree with you. The music is swelling. Everybody is kind of like looking out at whatever observation deck they're on as they're approaching Earth. And as stated in this episode, this is not only the first time that they've seen Earth, this is the first time they've been to a planet. Genesis has never been to a planet.
Yeah, how wild is that? She has
only lived on space stations and spaceships her entire life. So what a cool thing to be able to play with. Like, hey, here's what real gravity feels like, by the way.
Super, yeah, right? It's going to hurt.
And then you have a photonic who's like, oh my God, this is where like so many people are. Then you've got like just all this like emotion. Caleb's emotional to go back because he thought that he was going to be going back there with his mother someday.
Yeah, that's a big moment.
And it also feels like a returning, but for me, all of that was eclipsed by thinking about Star Trek. Like I was thinking about from the beginning of like creating the show and how it's tied to Earth and it's San Francisco, or like how many times Earth has become sort of an important character in a way, because there's different versions of what Earth has become depending on different timelines that have been explored. The warp creation that like put us in contact with the Vulcans that kind of kicked all of that off. And so anytime you come back to Earth, it just feels kind of like
grounding.
Yeah. And maybe like too literal of a word, but yeah. So for this show to do that, resetting Star Trek, resetting the future of what Star Trek can look like, and resetting it by going back to the roots, literally to like San Francisco, I was overwhelmed emotionally. And it is perfectly punctuated by this fucking song.
Yes.
Because it does this thing sometimes when someone sings, they slow a song down and then you can hear the lyrics like bit at a time. And it just seems so much more important or like relevant, or like, oh, who would have thought when the song was created that it would be used in this moment so poignantly or whatever, you know?
I loved it. It's one of my favorite bits of the episode. It won't work for everybody, but it was moving for me. I loved it.
And it was also just really pretty watching the ship kind of come down and turn from the Athena with wings to the Athena that is going to be a stationary part of this building that is the Academy on Earth, and how it's sort of transforming in front of you, thinking about how much of a nightmare it is that before your class on deck 2 is now over in wing 5, but whatever. Yeah,
the geometry of the ship has kind of changed.
And then it sort of shifts and it spins around and kind of locks itself into place. They're staring at the bridge. And I thought it was really nice because you've got the bridge crew, you've got the Captain Kitty with her crew behind her looking out this beautiful view screen. You've got all the kids lined up looking out. And then there's also a scan across the cadets, and we see a group of cadets that like are more clear, like these are the aliens of this.
Yes.
And there's one that's black and white, which is
from the original series.
From the original series.
Yes.
I've never seen that episode, but you've told me about it.
Yeah, we know that.
So that was interesting.
It was fascinating to see them on screen.
Yeah, and then you've got the green one, which could be the...
I think an Orion.
Orion's.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I was like, oh, okay. And then we shift to an actual like nightscape of San Francisco. And how fun is it? And I don't really think about this very often because I can't remember when this happened before, but I'm sure it has. We're like, oh, that's my moon. Because you know, like when you are watching the beginning of this episode and you're looking at these other moons.
There can be so much alien.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Look at those moons. But then like, you're like, that's my moon.
You can see Lake Armstrong from here. No, I completely agree. It's why I love it when Star Trek occasionally goes back to Earth.
Yeah.
Like every time they do it.
It makes sense why they wouldn't do it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like in this show, it makes sense why they would. Where you both get to go to space and you get to be on Earth. So I'm really curious. Sort of like,
I think it's really smart to have Athena be the Academy as a starship and as a building. Like, I think that's a stroke of genius. I think that's really, really, really clever.
He has a decision to make because he is in this very interesting sort of futuristic / I don't even know what you would call it. The set of the scene between Captain Kitty and Caleb is super distracting to me because the benches that they're sitting on look like they're made out of clay tiling that has been glazed, this sort of copper green, and it looks so uncomfortable. I'm so distracted by it. And then it's by this fire, and I'm like, this does not look comfortable. So this can't be a comfortable home.
I think this is her quarters. I think this is her room.
Who has lived 400 years would want to sit on a couch made out of tile?
That's fair. Yeah. like just a reminder that life is pain.
I'm so suspicious of her now. Like
after all of this.
Yeah.
That's what put you over the edge.
That put me over the edge. So we're kind of in. Do you know what it reminded me of? It looked like something you'd make in Minecraft.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. They don't really have pillows in Minecraft.
And even the lighting looked like just different sort of like globe lights that you would have in Minecraft. I don't know. I was very distracted by it. But we learn in this moment that yes, Caleb is in trouble because he hacked. He endangered the life.
But it's fine because the most recent thing he did was save the day.
But then he demonstrated command potential and an initiative during crisis. And so they cut him a deal. He has 90 days where he cannot leave the campus and 100 hours of labor, or he's literally expelled on Earth to go wreak havoc.
Or he can just go anywhere he wants. Yeah.
Here's the part that like is odd for me. I can believe that Caleb would want to stay because it's at this point got to be interesting and a lot of resources for him to do whatever he needs to do, right? But giving him these two options as if he couldn't find his way from Earth. I don't know. This is like the most resilient person that has lived the last 15 years surviving from thing to thing. Like he's incredibly
resilient. So you worry that
resilient.
it's not much of a choice? Like he should have left.
He should have
just left.
They have
I still think he's got better resources with Starfleet.
I think he has better resources, yes.
And I think there is a part of him that wants home as well. Like we may not know it yet, but I think there is a part of him that wants to be part of something that Starfleet could be.
Maybe. I mean, that's kind of what the show would be doing. But the part of Caleb that may have existed as I can survive with or without you is now gone to me.
It is a big jump. Like the trust is a big jump to take over the course of a couple of days.
Yeah.
Because now it's not a choice between a prison on Toroth where you're mining and shit with your nubs. It is now a choice between freedom and Starfleet.
It is.
And did enough happen during that episode to make you buy that
he would make that choice.
He would make that choice to stay. And I agree. I don't know that it is enough. Time will tell, I guess. But it is a big swing.
It's not the character that they're writing, and I need to let that go.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like, man, I just, in my mind, believe better that Caleb would have been like, great, thanks. I can go.
He comes around very quickly.
Yeah. And so I don't know that they're ever going to like really address that, or just that we're meant to believe that he has been making some friendships, that there's been, like you said, more of a reason for him to stick around besides just finding his mother.
But it's got to undo being on the run from the age of 6, 15 years of resentment.
Years. Yeah.
Like he hasn't had any interaction with Nala for 15 years. He's run away from Starfleet. Like he overcomes that 15 years of trauma. I guess he hasn't overcome it, but...
Well, it kind of looks like it does. So let's go a little bit further into this episode, because it's not just about him accepting this Starfleet thing for the next at least 100 days. Like maybe that's part of it. It's like, this is just 100 days. That's nothing. You know, 100 hours of work in 90 days. Let's just do that. And then I can figure it out. So I can maybe believe more strongly that he would do that. But there was no like kind of like squint, look over to camera, wink, wink, nod, nod, that he's double thinking about it. And instead they kind of lean in more for her to say, hey, I lost my son in the burn. And he's like, I'm not your son. And she says, I'm aware. And then they cross their arms together in unison.
Yes.
And they look, he says, I'll stay for now. And she says, don't screw it up. And they kind of smile a bit at each other and then look out the window in this sort of unified way. And that tells me that they're more in sync. Like if he is using her to gain an advantage on her for revenge or whatever, it like, I don't know, his just survival, his internal survival, don't trust anybody, like
maybe
scrapper kind of kid.
Is this the next best way to survive?
I just didn't get the impression that they were telling me that that's still part of his character.
Interesting.
But at the same time,
but it could be though, if this is the next most practical step for him,
I believe that.
Then maybe that's it.
It just wasn't telegraphed enough for me to think that they're doing that on purpose.
That's fair.
I think I would welcome a little bit of like fuck Starfleet energy.
I think there needs to be.
But we're going kind of full on into.
But also, this is a new Starfleet as well. So maybe the Starfleet he's used to isn't the Starfleet that he's interacting with right now. Yeah. So it could be that.
Well, it's definitely not the militant thing we saw at the beginning of the episode.
No, definitely not. There's another moment, there's a bit of dialogue that I loved in this speech so much. Nala says, what I would do differently is that I would listen to my child. I wouldn't judge them. I wouldn't maneuver them into what I want them to do. I would just let them be and be a listening ear for them. Because she's like, parents do that a lot. That you manipulate because you think you know best, and you manipulate the kids into doing the thing that you want them to do because you think you know best, instead of watching them walk their own path. And I just think that is not something you often hear, I think, in pop culture, in mainstream TV shows, and I think it's really brave and really good advice. I kind of loved that. Yeah.
You can believe that she's had 120 years to think about it.
Yeah.
Because really she has. It's been 120 years of thinking about what she would do differently as a mom. And that would be one of the reasons that maybe I'm glad that we don't have to live as long as that. It's because you don't have as long to regret decisions that you made when you were young.
I don't want to dwell on mistakes for centuries. Well, Ambassador, that just leaves pips. How many pips out of 4?
4.
Yeah, it's 4 pips for me, which is...
easy.
Man, I'm so excited that I get to give it 4 pips. That's amazing. I love that so much.
Well, it says something that we stopped watching this episode 3 hours ago.
Yep, still talking about it.
We are still talking about it. And now that we are through the episode, we're realizing we're going to have to release this as 2 episodes. Yeah, you're probably you're probably thinking a sigh of relief right now because it's already been so long.
Well, you're also probably realizing there's only a few minutes left of the show and we definitely haven't even started episode 2.
So we're going to go ahead and stop here, edit this one and get it out for you guys to listen to. And we're going to enjoy going into the next episode for episode 2. Which I think we're still planning on recording today.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Lord. We're not going to be done with this until dinner.
Yeah, we will definitely be...
what are we doing with our lives, Captain?
You will definitely be getting episode 2 before episode 3 comes out.
But don't expect it in the next 10 minutes on your download feed.
No, it'll probably be tomorrow or the day after. But you'll probably know by this point anyway, because I'll put it in the description. So yeah, all that leaves is thank you, new and existing listeners, for joining us for Starfleet Academy. I genuinely hope you enjoyed it as much as me and Deneé clearly did. This is a great sign for the rest of the season for me, to be honest. Yeah,
what a surprise to end episode 1 knowing that we had so much to joyfully talk about that we didn't actually meet our original goal of doing both episodes in one episode.
That's a great sign. It honestly is a great sign. If you have any thoughts, feedback, or anything, head to the description because there are loads of ways to reach out to us. The most direct route is iananddeneé@gmail.com. You can also join our lovely Ian and Deneé Discord. The link is in the description. And also, we have a Patreon. That's Ian and Deneé.
It's free to join.
Yep, you can just join it. If you want early access to the show and some other goodies,
that's just $3.
A $3 tier, and you get some extra content for us.
We've only just now started to have questions of what's your next tier going to be, and that is an exciting possibility. One of my things I'm thinking of, Captain, is that we release a 30-minute podcast, and all the rest of it goes onto a secret Patreon page.
Oh my God.
And it'll be $500 a month to be able to hear more of our thoughts.
Done. Let's go. Until next week, I'm Captain Ian, and it's what in the deviled egg hell from me.
And I'm Ambassador Deneé, and I want to learn how to kill a man with a toothbrush.
Live long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Captain's Pod. If you'd like to get in touch with the podcast, you can send us an email to ian@iananddeneé.com. And if you want to support the show and get the episodes early, you can go to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/iananddeneé. If you want to catch the show live, we have those links down in the description for YouTube and Twitch. And then I think I'm supposed to close this hailing frequency, so bloop bloop, we're out. Well, now I want you to come up with another quote that would have been from something that we watched and see if I can get it.
Oh, okay.
I love how I would immediately go to Google and you're just using your beautiful brain.
In my brain, yeah. It's baby needs a new pair of shoes. I've even given her an action to go with it as well.
Well, that's also Data.
Yes.
And that's when he was really emphasizing his character while in the strange, located inside of a storm, alien crafted reality for the space guy from our century who got launched somewhere accidental and there were definitely some doors.
Yes, close enough.
God, that was so grim. He'd been stuck there forever and just
I welcome death.
Just skeletoned upstairs.
I bear my captors no ill malice or ill will or whatever.
And it was was it Riker and
it was a dark and stormy night.
Riker, Worf, and Data were acting as the people who acquired the casino.
The generous investors, yes.
Yes, so that the loop would close and they could leave.
There we go.
Now, will I ever remember the names of these? No, probably not.
The Royale.
Quiz me again.
I think I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna make this one harder.
You can look stuff up. I love that you're trying to use your brain, but
no, it's fine. I'm not looking it up. I'm looking at what episode we've recently done ish. Paris, please find a way to load hyperspray.
That's so easy.
Go on.
That's super easy.
Go on.
This is in Voyager.
Yes.
And it was the doctor daydreaming because he had altered his programming somehow, I believe. And he was daydreaming about performing in front of the crew and getting accolades for it.
Perfect. Tinker Tenor, Dr. Sparry. Okay, I've got one more.
Okay. This is fun.
Pepperoni pizza. I might have you on this one.
That's it?
That's it. That's the quote.
Pepperoni pizza?
And the exclamation.
And it's the exclamation of pepperoni pizza.
It may have just been pepperoni, but it is screamed out.
That's way too vague.
It is not.
It is. It's one word exclaimed specifically.
Okay, it's a bit specific.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is when Tom Paris in Voyager is currently going through his transformation into lizard evolved form, and he screams out, "Pepperoni!" because it's something he's craving. It's like he's just really craving a pepperoni pizza while he's on the sickbay bed. In Threshold, you know, when
what
they
does
break
Tom Paris scream out in Threshold while transforming?
This is the Warp 10 barrier
into
episode.
A salamander.
Okay, I got one more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I just went out of my... Okay. Computer, no, I'm not going to do an accent. Computer, show me the bridge of the Enterprise. No bloody A, B, C, or D. There's some clues in there.
Will you say it again, please?
Computer, show me the bridge of the Enterprise. Computer says something. The character responds with...
Hold on. I mean, this is someone from TOS, am I right?
Correct.
Yeah. Come on, brain.
No bloody A,
Hold
B,
on.
or D.
It's interesting because, like, from the clues, I can kind of figure out maybe who it would be because which character would say bloody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there's
one of the
very
clues.
few.
Uh-huh.
But I'm trying to remember the episode. Like, I'm trying to picture what was happening around that moment.
Can I give you another quote from that episode?
No. I feel like it's Scotty. That's my instinct.
Okay.
But I can't picture when he does it, and that's what's bothering me because it's like, yeah, I can extrapolate from the clues who said it, but I want to get like where it was from.
Yeah, okay. Try and play through the episode in your head.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is like I don't remember because if there's a whole bunch of them that are like A, B, C, and D, that means he'd be in the future.
Yes, nice.
Right?
Very nice.
And I think the only one that I've seen him in that was the movie that we watched.
No. There is an episode of TNG we've watched.
I do not remember how he got on the ship.
It was only 50% successful.
Somebody else didn't make it out of the pattern buffer.
There we go.
Well, I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
This is, again, all stuff that, like, now that we've been doing this long enough, I'm like, this is how it happened, but I cannot visualize the episode.
And
that's what's bothering me.
It's in TNG.
Yeah.
They find a ship crashed on a Dyson sphere, which is a huge sphere which goes around a solar system and a star. And Scotty is in the transporter buffer, and he's put himself into a diagnostic loop after they crashed. LaForge brings him out, and they go back to the Enterprise, and then the Enterprise gets stuck inside the Dyson sphere. And Scotty and LaForge have to try and rescue the Enterprise using Scotty's old ship. And it's like Scotty's kind of in the way and a nuisance to everybody, and Geordi gets really mad at him for getting underfoot.
Okay,
and
that's kind of sounding familiar.
Scotty goes to 10 forward, takes some green liquid from Data and is getting drunk, and it turns out it's Picard's, I think, Saurian brandy. And he goes to the holodeck to see his old ship, and he gets drunk on the holodeck, and then Picard joins him.
Yeah.
And the computer is like, there have been 5 ships with the name Enterprise. Please specify there's no bloody A, B, C, or D.
How long ago did we watch that one?
So February 2025. So I pushed it back a year to see how far your memory banks were going.
That's definitely, we know that is at least beyond the limit. Is it the limit? I don't know.
Let's dial it in.
Oh my God. Oh no.
Okay, so we did, let's do it. You're out of here.
Okay, that is the episode of Deep Space Nine. Because that's a baseball reference, and the only thing that has anything to do with baseball was Deep Space Nine.
Okay, who said it?
Who said it? I think it was a Ferengi, but I don't remember.
No, it was Odo, and he says it to Sisko because Sisko's being a dick.
Yeah, I do remember that now. Yeah.
Okay, so that was March 25.
Okay.
That might be too easy. That might have been a really easy one.
Well, that's the fun part of this. Maybe we should turn this into something where if you want me to guess a quote, or even Ian guess a quote, you can send the quote in.
Well, we started doing this with the generations script that we have, and you would tell me a page number, and I would try and tell you what's happening.
Oh yeah,
we should pick that up again.
We should.
I got pretty close.
That was fun. Have you ever heard the song? Who needs an emotional support pickle when you've got an iris?
Approximately 17 times in one evening I have heard that song.
Who needs an emotional support pickle when you've got a mom? Who needs an emotional support pickle when you've got an Ian?
Yay.
It's pretty good. It's pretty catchy.
I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it.